Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. So go so the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty, what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. Within it took a little fun eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the bus station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, a killing eye. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk, she must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger, we look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
So the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. Beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace of her presents and gifts, call me Santa. Claus, I make her heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me Aston Kutcher, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing
touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
What is going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. What is going on? Yes, this is Ola coming to you live. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Great. This is Ola coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. Welcome back. Shout out to my sponsors: Mo Fresh, Richie, Life with Natu, Adesua, Film Girl, Tima, Sheo Mama, Gores Corner, D Love. Shout out to you all. I appreciate you for always supporting this platform. Welcome. And in case you want to support, you can support this platform as low as 99 cents. If you hear anything that's valuable to you, entertainment, educational, whatever, please, you can always support with just as low as 99 cents. So we're looking right now, we're at $69.25 for the month. Our goal is 1,000, but I've been away, so it's okay. Either way, I appreciate every single cent of that $69.25. That is quite a jump from, even without being here live as often as I would like to be, from $36. So I want to appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button as you're coming in. Let me come to the chat really quickly and say hello to my people. My G, Chinye, how far are you today? T-Love, hello. And I think Michael dropped a message here some few minutes before we went live. Let me see here. Michael said, today I went through all the allegations levied against Diddy by Cassie, totaling about 64, some horrific. I've got questions for Cassie and some for Diddy too. Settling her was a no-brainer. I agree 100%. But yes, that's probably the main topic we'll cover today. But again, welcome back. This is Men of Prestige. We basically talk about everything relationship, and we tackle it from a power, self, social, seduction, attraction, emotional, and intelligence standpoint. Okay, just in case you don't know, you can download this book right now for free at loveandprestige.com. Yeah, free, literally. Okay, so you just go there. You can download this book for free. It's basically testimony. My wife and I will be married for 16, together for 20 years. We got a few insights here and there that we can share, and we put it all in the book, and particularly we cover our own story, as opposed to a lot of situations out there where people are just talking very, general, oversimplification with generalization. You can hear some real life stories from in-laws to everything you can think of, finances, all that kind of stuff that people deal with when it comes to romantic relationships, marriage, particularly long-term relationship. So if you want that, you can download that for free. There is a masterclass of some sort, I guess, that you can attend. Yes, there is, at loveandprestige.com. It's all free. All right, with that being said, what do we have today? We do have some things to cover today, some information to cover today. If you're not part of the conversation behind the scenes, I basically try to stay in touch even when I can't make it to the show. Let's see. Interesting. All right, good. You can join our WhatsApp group at lolaanola.com/WhatsApp, okay? And we'll get you inside of the group. All right. So thank you, Jare. Chinye. I can't, there's nothing like home. Okay, there's nothing, ain't nothing like home. I'm telling you, everything is here. Over there, I have to improvise quite a bit, and but I'm here now. So today we're going to cover an array of topics. Of course, we'll cover the Diddy story. We'll try to tackle that. So again, do me a favor. As you're coming in, if you're coming in fresh, hit that like button, share, and subscribe to the platform. Okay, let's join the family. And don't forget to come back here. I try to come here, I don't know, once a day. I try to come here as much as I can. All right. But yeah, we got a few things that I want to cover today. So, all right, I'll be right back.
Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing thing. I find a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
All right, so let's talk about this short story here. Shout out to Istanbul, Nigeria. They're always posting this stuff that we can learn from. This title says, "Why you shouldn't marry a man who lives in a family house." Another relationship guru. So relationship gurus are everywhere. America knew, Nigeria knew, Yankee knew, Jandy knew, Canada knew. There's relationship gurus everywhere today. So since there's relationship gurus everywhere, we really shouldn't be struggling with relationships anymore, right? And when I say relationships, I mean everything from dating to marriage, by the way. Everything. People are struggling. There's a pandemic, okay? But some people are actually figuring some things out too, So as I get those kind of stories, I'll try to share them, even though they're not sensational enough to get people to click in. We'll try to share them so we can create a balance, so we don't become part of the toxin in this social media space, right? But let me see what this person says. Why you shouldn't marry a man who lives in a family house? Let's see why. Really, you shouldn't marry a man who lives in a family house. But there's multiple different meanings of family house. Some people live with their mother, and some people live in a compound where in that family they just tend to live in a compound, right? Everybody, you know what they say about. In fact, some people are fantasizing about that these days. You know what they say about it takes a village, right? Some people will take that to the bank. They say it takes a village. We need to live inside of the compound so that everybody else can help us raise these children. There's upside, there's downsides, right? So let me ask you before I continue right now. Do you think there's more upside? It's not a trick question. Just tell me your opinion. Do you think there's more upside to living in a family house? Let's call it compound, a family compound. And there's downside. Do you think there's more downside? And all you have to do in the chat is give me one downside if you think there's more downside. If you think there's more upside, give me at least one upside to living in a family house. I'm interested. I want to learn. Let me come to the chat. Mo Fresh, hello, how are you? Welcome. T-Love says depends on the culture, right? So based on what we know today, right? The culture today is modern, right? For most people, right? At least if you're watching me, your culture is probably modern in nature, like a modernized version of your culture, right? Hip hop, Afro beats, right? No, I'm just kidding. But you get the gist. Like, yeah, it's not that deep. Everything is not that deep. We're all woke, right? Right, so since we're all woke, knowing what we know today, either you live in Lekki or you live in New York City, right? It's similar, it's a lot of ways. We have a lot more in common than we like to admit. So that culture, in that particular culture, modernized version of your culture, is there more upside than downside, or otherwise, right, to living with the family, right? Living around family, right? And give me at least one upside, right, to what you think that is, right? And I would love to take it from there. Let's see. Chinye said, "This damn relationship gurus at the sell market. I be like, say I go enter this market. Say, I be why not? I know it's no crime. If you have something to say, come and say it. Just put a price label on it. That's all. Right? I go enter this market self. Just kidding. No, just kidding. No, kidding bit about. T Love says, downside, it affects the couple's relationship, 2 people plus God, then kids. The rest might be a crowd after a while. What about people that might say you're doing Igbalode, you're doing woke, right? Like it takes a village. These days, right? There's a lot of people, especially men, that are complaining about that. They're saying these days that these kids are spoiled. It's like there was a girl that was going viral over the past 24 hours now. She says these kids are spoiled. She's taking care of 10 kids in the class and they don't listen, right? So maybe it's because we don't have the village around these kids helping us raise them anymore. What do you think? I haven't even read what the comment says, but let's get to it. Syphilis can enter inside too. Okay. All right. I think that's the downside. Good one. That's good. That's the downside. There is the downside of family. Family, they don't necessarily mean any harm, but they can actually harm your relationship. Yes, they can. Okay. But the upside, there's no upside. There's got to be upside now. Maybe I already said it. It takes a village. The village can help you raise your kid. So I don't know. No be woke. Please, it's my house, except its aged parents, to which arrangements can be made. Good point. All right, so let me get to this. What's going on, Paula? How are you, Paula? Good to see you. Let's see. Let me get to this. Let's see what this person said, right? The person said, don't marry a man living in a family house. My sister, don't marry a man living in a family house. You will never enjoy that marriage. Wow. Really? It's completely impossible? Okay, let's continue. I may sound stupid and senseless, but believe me, the day you are married into a family house, you remember this post. Even flies in the house will abuse you, including your in-laws. Until you find yourself in this situation, you may not understand this post. Sister, if a man does not have money to rent at least 1-room apartment, then you guys have no business getting married. How will you guys now cope with family expenses? Don't be deceived. Marriage needs money. The day your husband marry you into a family house, both of you have lost respect and dignity in that family. Even if it's 1-room apartment, it will be much more better than living in a family house for peace to reign. Okay. If a man still lives in his parents' house, okay, that's another angle. Family house, parents' house, I guess it's kind of like the same thing, right? Everybody, including his siblings, can all marry into that place and bring their children. If a man still lives in his parents' house, tell him to get an apartment before paying your bride price. Statistics shows that the wives end up unhappy, caged, and frustrated. Statistics, wow. No sourcing, nothing, no citing. No matter how good your in-laws are, even if you tell me go and Google it, say something now. It won't need statistics anyway. So no matter how Google your in-laws are, no matter how good, I said Google. No matter how good your in-laws are, pray you don't have any reason to live with them. They will show you shaggy. Yeah, I can feel that right now. I can see that. I can see what she's talking about. Yeah. It's a visit. It's a visit them. Let them visit you. Oh, let them visit them and let them visit you. Oh, it's a visit them, let them visit you. I don't know. Your parents-in-law may be good, but believe me, your co-wives, brothers, and sisters-in-law will fight you. Some may even go diabolical. Nigerians cannot help themselves with this diabolical thing. But it's true, okay? It's true, because all it takes is one person to believe in diabolical stuff. It becomes a reality. Dear men, living in a family house does not mean neglecting your parents and your responsibility. It means starting your own life, living a private life, and having a peaceful home. I repeat, please don't marry a man living in a family house. you will never enjoy that marriage to its fullest. Okay. All right. I think it's a good point. Personally, I think it's a good point. What's going on? Greatness, gracious greatness. What's going on? T Love says, hello again, Paula. Good to see you. T Love says, not impossible, but it depends on the family and their culture, plus which family member. Yeah. You know, let me speak to that. I think, like I said earlier, the culture is kind of like all the same. The only difference is our accents. Okay, the culture is very similar across the board. Of course, there are differences in culture, but I'm saying when it comes to marriage, family, right now, I will have to say it's all the same. Okay, the reality is that we live in a modern world, and all those people, and you're trying to mix that in with a modern marriage. Yeah, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Okay. Listen, the individualism thing is real. Okay. We all like to have our own separate lives, but come together as a society. But those family units, one wife, it's the reality. It's the order of the day, right? And if you still like, quote unquote, it's my culture of my family, we can just live together, it's probably going to backfire because you're swimming against the trend. That's one reason. Okay. But also, all these forces, all this monitoring spirits, it's a bad idea. Okay, there are ways you can still have them around and not necessarily live in the same house with them, you know. So I and also in-laws, I keep telling you, if you're going to be a mother and father-in-law later on, you're going to be the monster in-law. It's just reality. You're gonna because it's a form of relationship, there's going to be conflict, right? And those conflicts are harder to handle when you're living in the same house with them. If you have to deal with them, wake up to them, they're harder to handle. And yes, it will spill over into your marriage. That's just a fact. Okay, that's just the reality. It will spill over, right? And people's feelings will be tampered with. Like, why you talk to my mother like that? You talk to my father like that? Well, father, don't talk to my wife like that. Well, all that kind of, it's just too much, especially for a young couple coming up. Yeah, they already have layers of issues to sort through before they grow, before they become mature to the other side. And you add this onto it, it's a bad idea completely. You know, so I would definitely, when it comes to depends on the family and their culture, I would just say, please don't make it depend. You live in this culture, right? And this is a point of contention already, and you feel some type of way already. If you already argue against what I just said, that's a good chance. That's a good sign that you shouldn't do it, right? That person is absolutely correct. You should be able to afford an apartment, a one-bedroom, a studio apartment, before you should be paying any kind of bride price. It demonstrates that you're a man, that you can hold your own, you're self-sustainable, right? And if there's enough left over, you can share, right? At that point in time, you can go over the weekend, you can go spend weekend, you can spend even that Thanksgiving thing that people go every Christmas, Thanksgiving to go and spend with. You have to be careful with that. You can't make that a routine thing. You should do it, and it should be special whenever you do it. You should do it, and it should be obvious that, hey, we can do this in our house too, right? When it becomes like a routine, you do it all the time, it's not going to be based on somebody is trying to be evil. It's going to backfire because there's going to create conflict, right, between somebody, right? Because you have to deal with between two human beings already. Now you have to deal with another layer. It's just, you can do it, but you should do it in a way that you have the freedom to stay home too. Thanksgiving is coming up this weekend here in America, right? It's not every Thanksgiving you have to rush to your parents' house, right? At some point, it might become second nature. Like, for example, my wife and I, she already decided we're going to my parents' house. She decided without me. Well, it's okay. It's been 16 years, okay? But you're going to go to a phase where you have to be careful with that, right? Don't assume the other person is okay with that. A lot of people just make the assumption that they're okay with that. So it's not just living in the person's house. You just have to understand that family is a very tricky, delicate thing you have to manage over a period of time. Eventually, how you decide to do it will become a second nature. Everybody's on the same page, right? And when there's conflict that comes up, you have to know how to handle that without making it personal. Hey everybody, good evening, gracious greatness. No, not parents' house. Good evening, gracious greatness. Everybody's greeting each other. Welcome. Hit that like button as you're coming in. Thank you. She is a parent house is a no unless if the call fell into hard times. In that situation, they would have to get themselves together as fast as possible and getting the F out. Jesus. You don't change my name to Gracious Freshness now. Hey, Jesus. Let's see. It's fine. Oh, you guys flirting in the chat now? Jesus. All right, good. So that's the point. I think it's just another layer of part of any marriage, long-term relationship that has to be managed without bringing right and wrong into it. You just understand that when it's too many people, it's just that much more energy you have to manage. And it's some people are outrightly just evil, just bad people with bad intention. For the most of the time, it's not going to be that. It's just going to be people being people. Right? So you want to keep your family in a place where it's easier to manage, and you want to have the option to go over and spend time with people from time to time, as much as you agree to do that, right? And don't forget to give. Like if you have a spouse who likes to go spend some time, say, babe, not today, tomorrow I promise we're gonna practice your seduction skills around this type of topics. It's not every you just hold your foot down and just say no. And it's not only in sex that you practice seduction. Right? If somebody likes to do that, that's something they will extremely love if you offer it sometimes. Right? Just offer it sometimes. And if you can't do it, say, babe, not this year. I promise. If you give me this year, the next 2 years, instantly you've sown the seed that it's not going to be every year. And probably next year, it's probably not going to feel like, because now you're training that person to understand that it's not every time. But if you tackle them with the confrontation and say, why is it that every time we have to go there? If you do that, it's going to backfire. So it's not about right and wrong. This topic is not about right and wrong. You got to be careful when you're addressing this issue. All right? Tilos, the desperate times call for desperate measures. Had more work shift. No staying for prolonged period in farmhouse. What exactly? Do what you gotta do. It's Showtime, right? So you can get your weight up and do what you gotta do. Politeness is not flirting, no. It's okay. It's okay. All right. It's all good. All right. Okay. All right. So that's that with the family thing. The family thing is going to be a topic that will keep coming up here. So get used to it, because it's easier said than done. I'll be right back.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
All right, let's spice things up a little bit. Wife and I actually earlier on were watching this show, but I guess this let's talk about this. I'm gonna play this video, Honest Bunch podcast, right? I'm gonna play this video and then I want to hear your opinions on it. Let's get it. Let's see.
Oh, see what a sex toy can do, what a good vibrator can do. I don't know one man that can do that job.
True that.
And that is just fact. You see that rhythm, that consistency that the vibrator has. No man can wiggle his tongue consistently like that. So sometimes, when you're doing it with a man, he's getting the rhythm, and then he changes something. I'm like, oh my goodness, out of my face.
If your partner is giving you normal one and you have been taking it for years, and then vibrator just comes like this,
And your legs begin to shake like small generator.
and takes you there in 3 seconds. What are you doing with man again?
Yeah, I know one thing though. See what a sex toy can do, what a good vibrator can do. I don't know one man that can do that job.
True that.
All right, that's enough. I want to hear your opinions on this. Okay, a couple of questions I have. Okay. Around wait, what did I miss? I want your opinions on this. Sex toys. Let's talk about sex toys, right? What's your take on it? How do you feel about sex toys, especially in marriage? Okay. But I've been alpha, right? What do you think about sex toys in marriage? Is this something you subscribe to? Or is this something that you say, be careful? Or is something you say, absolutely, we must bring it in? So if you say, absolutely sex toys, put a 1 in the chat. If you say, it depends, you have to be careful, put a 2 in the chat. If you say, oh, no, that's not for me, put put a 3 in the chat. I want to know your opinions on this, because this is a conversation that we need to start having right now, okay? And what I've noticed when people are talking about this is that people fall on different parts of the equation, right? In terms of opinions, right? From the look of things, it looks like women in general are absolutely for it. Okay? All right? It looks like women in general are absolutely for it. In terms of men, it's like 50-50. That's just what I've noticed. I could be wrong, but let me know what you've noticed too. What I've noticed that men 50-50, some like no, some like yes. Women like a lot of women are just, it's either they don't say anything, they don't have an opinion, or they're all for it, right? But their facial expression, you can always tell that maybe she doesn't mind. Okay, so that's one aspect of thing. I didn't get the. Let me get you 1 if you say absolutely, 3 if you say no. And 2 if you think like I guess, let me see here. T Love is saying 2. Apparently she's saying whatever the couple agrees on. No. We're talking about influence right now. Of course I agree with that, right? But we're talking about, this is social media now, and people are talking about this. So people are influencing each other. People are having a word about, they're saying these things, right? So if we say absolutely, there's some benefits, right? But we know that there's risk, right? If you say no, there are benefits, but we also know that there are risks, right? And we should spell. And then if you say 2, you're in the middle. Like for example, whatever the couple agrees, right? You're basically saying that that's the ideal answer, right? But we know that people are going to influence each other, and some people are going to listen to this kind of shows on social media, and then they come home and they say, well, why don't we try this? And then the husband's like, try it. Are you mad? Am I not enough for you? Right? Or they may never say it out, but they start to feel some type of way, like, what is this woman been listening to? What have you been doing with your life? A nursing degree we told you to get, you didn't get the nursing degree. You are here talking about sex toys. Is that what your mates are doing? Right? And now the conversation is discombobulated, right? So let's have the conversation. Let's balance all the balances. Risk and benefit of absolutes. Risk and benefit of no, don't do it. No, yes, absolutely, absolutely yes, absolutely no, right? And then the indifference. The indifference would be ideal. That would be beautiful. That means if my husband comes home and he said they were trying, hanging off the ceilings, it's cool, sure, as long as we both agree. Well, we don't both agree, right? Which is usually the case. There's some kind of difference, right? Or differences in terms of these things, right? And that's why I'm asking the question, So what do you think? I'm going to play the video again so you can hear it. Let's see what this is.
See what a toy can do, what a good vibrator can do. I don't know one man that can do that job.
True that.
And that is just fact. You see that rhythm, that consistency that the vibrator has. No man can wiggle his tongue consistently like that. So sometimes, when you're doing it with a man, he's getting the rhythm, and then he changes something. I'm like, oh my goodness, out of my face.
If your partner is giving you normal one and you have been taking it for years, and then vibrator just comes like this,
And your legs begin to shake like small generator.
and takes you there in 3 seconds. What are you doing with man again?
Yeah, I know one.
She said, what are you doing with man again? Will be Juju be that one. What are you doing with man again? Right? Really? Like toys can replace a whole man? Is that how that works? Is that how that works now these days? This is why some people about 5 years ago will say, don't try it, because now you're getting numb. A man cannot satisfy you anymore.
Not be Juju be that.
All right, let me see. Let's see. Let me come to the chat. So sorry about that. Mr. Man, MOP. I can see you've chosen violence tonight. Sex toys, okay. It's not me. That's what they're talking about. That was trending today, right? So people are talking about it. For how long are we going to shy away from these topics, right? Tilo says 2. Okay, so you're in the middle. Okay, 2 then. What is it used for? If it's used to enhance the sex life, then sure. But it shouldn't replace the person, because that has posed another question. Is there a potential? Is there a possibility that if you use it to a certain extent, it can replace your partner? Is that even possible? Ladies, tell me, because it seems like now they promote this thing more. Because like I said, what I've noticed that about 50% of men are even like why, right? Right? So is it possible that this can absolutely, directly or indirectly, eventually replace your partner? Maybe you don't need it. You just need to knock one off. You just pull out the gadget. You take care of yourself. Like she says, you're good to go. And then before you know it, the person cannot meet your need. Is this a possibility? Right? And that's what we're talking about. Marriott says, hey Marriott, how are you? Says, enough with pumps that are not shaking the table. Not in 2023. Women don't want to fake anymore. Ha! Jesus Christ.
Oh my days, what
is the percentage of people or pumps that are not shaking the table, in your opinion? What's the percentage? Well, one thing we know is that a lot of women are not sexually satisfied. We know that. Can we spell that out? Can we say that? Okay, that's the consensus we're getting across the board. All right, that's even the more reasons why we can't shy away from these conversations, right? Anyway, according to studies, it causes issues because it shifts the person. It shifts the person. Okay. The idea is to shift pattern, not to shift the person. So it's shifting persons. All right. Which kind clip be this gun self? Who vibrator help? You're a man. So you probably wouldn't know, right? See, as men, we don't have these issues, right? We don't need, let me even shock you, okay? Let me shock you. A lot of men don't even need to be attracted to you before they can knock one off. All right? Before they can take care of themselves and okay, I'm good for the next 1 week. A lot of men don't even need to be attracted, right? A lot of men will be okay with you, face the wall. All right? Let me do what I got to do, and then we're out. Consensual, of course. Okay? Consensual, of course. Right? But for women, it's a little bit of a different story. And I'm not talking about sex workers, okay? All right, I'm not talking about the exceptions. For a typical woman, they kind of need connection, right? All right, which is why it's just different, right? And generally speaking, of course. Most likely, I'm speaking as a person that is not a consumer. How would you know? How are we going to verify now? Eh? What's with the explanation?
You go explain because no evidence.
Yeah. Who asked you T-Love? Wait, but Ben, so vibration provide temporary satisfaction at the end. Man. Okay, but Ben, are you okay with bringing this into a marriage? Bringing sex toys into a marriage? Are you all right with that? Or Maria says, I will make up a number based on the women I've spoke to. 95%. Receiving pumps that does not shake the table. Tampering with our self-esteem here. Jesus Christ. Most women have never experienced the big orgasm. Wow. Yeah, we've seen that over and over again. There's many studies that have revealed that. That's why we need to keep having this conversation. Okay. Some look scary too. Huge like a harm. I think from what I've noticed, most women don't want the baby leg. Speaking of baby leg, oh my God, this nigga right here, I'm done. Oh Lord, right. Let me see if I can find that. Oh God. Speaking of baby leg, this will be a perfect time. Hold on 1 second. Pardon me for a second there. You guys know what baby leg is, right? Oh Lord, let me see if this is doable. Can I do this? It's still loading. I'm not sure. Hold on 1 second. Not too far now. How you dey? All right, we'll come back to that. All right, cool. Just wanted to get that ready. It shouldn't replace Sha. Machine is not a human. Yeah, but it shouldn't replace. Is it possible that it can replace? Right? Can you enjoy it so much that you get to a point that it's shifted you, like you said, like studies, right? And is that a possibility? Is that something that some people are experiencing, right? Not too far either. Braben said, bring sex toy to a marriage is the end of the road for me. Oh. Hey, Braben. Ha! You said that publicly. You said that publicly, Braben. Hey. All right, let's keep going. I'll just leave it at that for now, okay? If these things are the revolution that we look forward to, then relationships, marriage will be a relic of the past. Men will get with their sex dolls and ladies will replace men with a vibrator. Is this what we all really want? I mean, people want what they want, man. People want orgasms. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, people want... the women want orgasm too, right? Women want to come. How do we solve this issue right now? Okay? This is the reality you're faced with. Right? So let me flip that question on the end. Do you really want a woman who is not satisfied in bed? Right? Is that really what we want? A bunch of women that are not satisfied. It's been like that we had peace. But now, these women are 30% of paternity tests in Nigeria, they come back negative. What percentage of that do you think is women who just cheated because they were not satisfied at home? Right? Now, the other question is that, do you need sex toys to satisfy? That's the other part of the question. All right? That we can say yes, no, maybe, indifferent too. We can also discuss that part, right? Yeah, already population is reducing certain parts of the world. Ouch. If we actually think that dolls and toys can replace another human being, well, we don't think. Is it possible that... Let me tell you something. Let me give you a flip side of it. Porn, right? Let me say corn. Let's replace it with a C, right? Corn is replacing some wives. Are you aware of that? Some men are addicted to corn that's replaced their wife. How? Well, it's from micro to macro. Like, eventually, the wife might have to be removed, right? But for the majority of the situation, the wife stays there. It's just that the intimacy gets dried up because she could never satisfy the simulation, right, of multiple women who can hang up the ceilings, different angle and stuff, right? She could never satisfy that. So for some people that are dealing with addiction to porn, right, that is the real thing. Should it happen? That's fantasy. Should it, coulda, woulda, I don't know. The reality is that it's happening, right? So let's talk about it. It could replace, yes. So communication should come in. People should not die in silence. Absolutely. Especially if we're talking about marriage. At some point, you have to talk about it. You have to have a conversation. And please don't have the conversation when you're about to do the deuce and when Konji don't catch you finish at night. That's too late at that point in time. It's gonna come off all wrong and not authentic, right? Because nobody wants to be taken advantage of, right? It's like, okay, now you come, you want to do, now you want to have conversation, like, and that's anti-seductive as well. Let's see. Any man who can satisfy their woman should come learn work. Oh. But I mean, you're on to something today. We go show them way. It's not by power. Okay, I go leave you. Like I don't say, I go leave you alone. Okay. I think that a man can learn to satisfy his wife by them act effectively communicating and having the collective focus of satisfying her and him. I love it. I love that. I love that. I love that you included her and him, right? Because there's no satisfying the other person without satisfying you, but you have to lead. You have to direct your energy to lead in a certain direction, right? So you can get what you want, right? But we never forget that you want something too. But we also understand that some things have to go before the other so we can have an overall good experience, right? So in my personal opinion, right, if you are frowning at sex toys, if you're frowning at it, it's an indication of many other things. Now, the one formula in all of this is that both people must be on the same page, okay? Now, that's a very tricky thing. If both people are on the same page, if I know one toy, if both of you, if you figure it out and it's accurate that both of you don't want it, we have nothing to worry about. Problem solved, right? If both of you want to use enhancement, not to enhance the persons, but to enhance the experience, if both of you are okay with that, problem solved, right? The issues come when one person wants and the other person is completely dismissive about it. Not even not want. If one person wants, the other person doesn't want, if they communicate, they can still sort out some kind of middle ground. But when one person wants and the other person is completely dismissive about it, which is what's happening for the most part, then we got a problem. Active problem, okay? That can absolutely destroy your intimacy with your partner. Okay? Then we got a problem, right? So, and when it comes to communication about this, again, the idea, like Gracious Greatness said, is to find out what the other person wants, what they like, right? If you take care of them, they tend to be open to taking care of you. I said tend to because there's no guarantee in life, right? But most people have not even tried before they conclude, before they become dismissive, right? If you take care of them, they tend to be open to taking care of you, right? So what would be the idea? Like, what's the best way to move about this? If you want to be taken care of, you take care of people. There's this guy. What's his name? I forgot his name now. He has a saying, okay, right? All you have to do is help more people get what they want, and you will get everything you want, right? The scriptures talk about seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else shall be added unto it. Most people are thinking about a planet called heaven of God somewhere when they think that, right? That's what they're thinking about. But honestly, that principle applies everywhere. There's some things that you just take care of first and everything else will be taken care of, right? It's a downstream effect, right? Just help more people get what they want and you get everything you want. Well, in this case, your wife, your husband, help them get what they want, right? And you also be added onto it. I'll tell you what about sex toys. A lot of people are trying to use it as absolute solution. It is not, okay? If anything, it gets worse. It gets worse. If anything, it just gets worse. And it gets worse in terms of overall experience, right? Because eventually, if you're taking care of your own kanji by yourself, right? You're taking care of yourself, vibrators, like she said, right? Eventually, that gets worse. Just like you got tired, just like see finish enter that person where they give you like what you enjoy at one point, right? And now it's not, the pump is not shaking the table enough. Eventually, too, you will now need to look for bigger and bigger or more, faster and faster. You're never satisfied. Why? Because your satisfaction is coming from the outside, and that's a problem. Okay, but let me read some of your chats before we continue here. If you're a woman and you are sexual active, Biko, leave that man. What is life without coming? If I were a woman, I would think that way. I'm not a woman, but it makes sense not to. It makes complete sense. I also saw women left the communication table. They did. Let's see here. I think it would be unwise to try to satiate all fantasies that we have in life. Absolutely, and this is true for any other concept out there, right? if you need outside elements and factors to really be satisfied in life, you will struggle till death, literally. If you don't understand that the best, the highest quality of satisfaction and fulfillment in life has to come from the inside. Now, enhancement, influencers, like influential things on the outside can help, right? But at the core of it, you want to make sure it's coming from the inside. This is why even a lot of sex parts people, when they get too obsessed with the conversation about sex, are like, relax. If this person cannot find fulfillment from inside, taking care of themselves, learning how their body works, right? They're probably going to struggle anyway. They will continue to look for bigger and better and faster and vibrators. They're still not satisfied, and it gets worse. Eventually, they might think they need another man to take care of that part, right? It just gets worse. So, absolutely, I agree that it's not wise to have to take, like, every fantasy must be fulfilled. Like, at some point, you have to bring structure into your life. You should be busy with purpose, and, you know, you should find a way to balance that with fantasy. That's why we're in this problem in the first place. I remember seeing a lady shove a giant Coca-Cola bottle down. Jesus Christ. Jesus Obai. Hey! Ha!
Halfway.
Gluttony, excessive consumption of things, and debauchery, na big problem. Now, I'll tell you what, let me push against you a little bit. Gluttony and excessive consumption of your own idea of sexual experience, yes, that can destroy everything too. So it's about a balance, right? It's about balance. Like if we bring it down to, hey, I'm here to take care of my partner's needs, right? I'm here to make sure you feel fulfilled, right? Sexually, right? Like, you know, you're gonna be all right. Like just that attitude enough can make a woman come, right? Even before you, just the fact that she knows that, and vice versa, by the way, but especially women, because we bring the structure, we bring the seeds, right? And she multiplies it, right, into an experience, right? So if you lead with that type of attitude already, right? But some people have gluttony and excessive consumption of what they consider to be normal, right? Or what it was supposed to be. The reality is that you cannot put human beings in a box, right? But I agree on the other side that if you move too fast, if you run too fast on that runway, you will crash. You will go up fast and crash and burn. And that's like anything else in life, you know? So it's more of an art. In fact, Nedu said that on the show today, and I was like, Nedu said something awesome. It's more of an art than it's an exact science, right? A lot of it still comes down to active listening. I would replace communication with active listening. Like, see what your partner loves, because that's why you were there in the first place, to help them feel fulfilled, right? And in that process, you can feel fulfilled, right? Let's see here. That example is too trivialized a serious issue. Women are not there to pleasure only. Wahala. Let's see. It's just like a drug addiction. We always need bigger and bigger and more and more. You just have to be careful with that. It's the same thing with the corn addiction. It's the same thing with any other form of addiction in life, right? But when you are doing this thing within a controlled environment, meaning both of you, it starts with both of you being on the same page, right? And being on the same page is a moving target. So the idea that worked yesterday may not work for your wife tomorrow, right? You have to be open to that. You have to be open, right? Being open doesn't mean you have to do everything. This is the mistake that a lot of people make. Being open to the conversation doesn't mean you have to do. Just being open can get her wet and come before you even touch her. And then that makes everything else easier, right? But a lot of people are just dismissive before they even have the conversation, right? It's the same thing where we talk about, she says there's a problem at work today, and you're very quick to say, why did you do this way? Do this way. And then problem solved, right? And she's like, no, I don't want the problem solved. I want you to hear me out. I want you to listen to me. There's the same issues across the board. It's just depending on, are you patient enough to walk through it, right? So, and if somebody brings up sex toys and you're like, who taught you that? Let me smell your partner. Right? If you do things like that, like, okay, I'm exaggerating, but you're dismissive about it, is my point, right? If you do things like that, she will shut down. She won't feel safe enough to bring something else up because they don't know how you're going to react. And yes, she might look for that satisfaction in other places. Okay. If your woman brings sex, I say, let's try this. Baba, relax. Use it on her. It's not that deep. Okay, funny thing is that you don't have to do it that deep. Right? Just the fact that you're open. Right? She might even throw that thing to the side eventually. Right? And show you shiggy. That shiggy that you've been looking for. If you just keep an open mind at the end of the day. But what I've found is that a lot of men are just completely close-minded to it. And, yes, sexually frustrated woman in 2023 is not the same thing as sexually frustrated woman in 1960. The sexually frustrated woman in 1960, it's like, it is what it is. We're just here to have babies anyway. Like, it's a social construct. So they tend to be okay. Some of them still go next door and sleep with your father's uncle, your great-grandfather's uncle, right? You just never heard it on. There was no social media. But today, things are different. All I'm asking you is keep an open mind. You don't have to be so dismissive about everything for the most part, okay? And most people don't care for it, okay? And most women don't use big bola, baby leg vibrators either. They don't care for that. They just need some kind of stimulation. The same reason why people smoke cigarettes, okay, or drink Coke instead of water, right? Eventually they say it's too much, I go back to water, right? See, it's a moving thing, right? But if you take it so seriously, you overreact and then you push them even further to, right? Just keep an open mind when you're having these conversations. That's all I'm saying. That's not how vibrators work. You can't break your pum pum. Stop for 3 days and the nerve endings go back to normal. Oh, yeah. In fact, everything I'm saying is mostly mentally, not even any of the physical stuff. It's just mentally, okay? Because like you said, things go back to normal if you just calm down, you don't overreact. Things, come back to their equilibrium, right? But if you are going to overreact across the board in any direction, then you can push it, you can help it push it that further, right? In the wrong direction. So mentally, that's all I can share with you when it comes to mental stimulation for sex. That's all I can talk about. In terms of the gadgets and all, I can't speak too much to that because we generally don't need much. For me and my wife, I'm being honest with you, okay? All right. And it goes a long way, and I will attribute that to just understanding the mental part of things, right? Let's see here. Life with Natu says the reason why I won't buy sex toys ideology is because I want to feel needed and I want to need my husband when congees start. I don't want options. Okay, that's a good one. As long as both of you are on the same page. If you're the woman saying this, you probably don't have any problem. Okay, you probably don't have to worry about anything. What do I miss? Baba. Let me see. I'm coming to the chat. MOP, did you just say men should support sex toys? Now, she keep an open mind. She probably doesn't want the sex toys. She's missing something. The big O is not happening. If your woman brings up sex toys, it's not hitting it. Keep an open mind for the conversation. Don't be dismissive because she will do more than sex toys. She might even bring a sex doll home, right? If you are close-minded when it comes to this. Again, most of these issues is never really the main issue. The main issue is that somebody is not feeling fulfilled, and you have to really practice keeping an open mind when you're having those conversations. And if it comes to it doesn't hurt. Like, keep an open mind, Baba. Let her use it on herself. Help her use it on herself, and then finish it. Okay. Finish it. That's all. Again, this is only applicable if your woman is asking for it. If your woman know they ask for it, why do you worry? Don't worry about it. Don't worry now. But if she's asking, there's a reason. And that's the part that we will not be. That's the part that we're not going to cap about. If she's asking for sex toys, right? If you say no, we cannot bring sex toys into this house.
Stop the cap.
Baba, it's too late. She's already using it. You get the point? She's just trying to invite you to the party. You're missing the point. Okay? She's still trying to invite you to the party. You're dismissive. It's going to get worse. All right. Let's see. I wasn't intending to trivialize. Sorry, the same said for women. That's why they 4 children everywhere. Nick, wahala. I'm trivializing all day long. We need to have fun with these conversations so that we can finally get to somewhere with these conversations. Right? Everybody's all serious, but they're struggling. So, trivialize as long as it's not offensive. So we need to find the balance there. Please don't buy idea. Oh, body touch body is the best ever. Mr. Ola, the other aid is penetration doesn't work for many women. Yes, I've seen those studies over and over again. And guess what worked for us the most part? Penetration. We can't wait. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that many marriages struggle, but no one is talking about it. It's just it's a very tricky thing for many people. So, but then the issues are not the issue. What you think the issues are not the issue. The issue now is you have an active conflict now that is not being addressed, right? And somehow that's going to disappear. You can push it under the rug. For where? That issue that your problem, it will stay there. It will get bigger and bigger. Next time you try to bring it, it will try to come to the surface. It will now be bigger. That's all I'm saying. All right. And the women and the men don't want to learn. The toys are an easy fix, and women don't mind you penetrating all you want once she's taken care of. She can't actually wait. Okay, but if that's all you do and it's not working, it's not working. Okay. Now she will go and try to use it behind you, right? And it's still weird because somehow mentally she's like, you're dismissive. So, but Allah, I don't support this line of reasoning at all. I understand now. Although it's far. I understand, bro. I understand. Those are excessive people. Most women are using it with their partners and themselves seldomly. Yeah, I agree with the seldomly. At least it's not that, like, it's a lot of people assume, because again, they are afraid. Like, this bola will take my space. No, it won't. Relax. Okay, there's nothing like the warmth of a human body, especially when people are on the same page. Okay, there's nothing can replace that. This is fear, but you know what fear does, right? It just discombobulates. This type of fear, of course, it just discombobulates things. When fear enters and you're interacting with another person, right, you will just attract the worst in that interaction, right? Because you're operating from a place of fear. But if you're confident, right, and somebody say, you don't want to try this thing, if you're confident, I'm being invited to a party, right, without thinking this is a Diddy party. You don't have to think it's not a Diddy party, right? It's not a Puff Daddy party. Okay, it's just your wife asking you to be invited to a party. Right? How big of a deal can that be? She's still inviting you to a party. You want to wait until she doesn't invite you to the party anymore? Yeah. Now, if your wife has not invited you to your party, there's nothing to worry about. It doesn't mean you don't have a problem, but there's nothing to worry about yet, at least, or maybe there's nothing to worry about. Then perfect. Because there's some women will argue against me now. They will say, that man is teaching them terrible things on that side. Don't go there. There's some women like that. They're traditional like that, and they're still not giving you kpekus. You ever wonder why you have to struggle every other week to get some kpekus? Oh, you never thought about it. Oh, I'll leave you to that. You can figure it out later on. Honestly, it shouldn't be a problem. Just like AI tools, all right. The sex toys can be used to enhance experiences, I guess. Not to overdo this. Again, couple discussion. It's not to overdo it. That's the idea. Okay. AI does not work without the input of human beings, right? The AI is just as good as your prompts, right? Some of you that are techie, you know that. It still needs us, right? But when you have fear, you're like, my kids cannot touch the computer. Please don't buy phones for those kids. They need to be 20 years old before you buy a phone for them. The kids are going to live in this generation. You're missing the point completely. Today I had to write and fill out form. It was very weird. It was excruciating. My brain almost busted because I had to write for so long. I don't like writing. We don't live in that world anymore. But all of that's so bad. This world is becoming so bad. You should still be able to write. Baba, I don't want to write. You don't understand. I don't want to write. Yeah. Well, this world is devolving. Good for you. Congratulations, it's devolving. That's the direction that the world is going. If you don't catch up to it, you will miss out. You miss out on the experience, right? Because the world is still very good. People are still going to have sex, and they will enjoy it, right? And it's going to be penetrations involved, right? But with the social construct, with things changing, you have to know how to pivot. You have to know how to adjust, right? Without mixing it together with your losing your sense of value. It doesn't have to be. I'll tell you, like right now, most people don't even have to touch that thing if you're just open-minded. You don't have to touch any toys if you're just open-minded. What probably the reason why it's not working out yet is because somebody has been close-minded. They said you should hang off the ceiling. They said, I don't want to hang off. Let them buy the ceiling fan first now. Ladies, same thing, okay? Let them buy the ceiling fan first. Don't be like, hey, you want me to hang off the ceiling of the chandelier? Hey, buy them first. I can't wait, babe, to hang off the ceiling while you're doing the needful down there.
You doing what?
It's like, freaky. Let's just go upstairs right now. We don't need chandelier, right? All I'm telling you is everybody should just relax, okay? Mr. Ben is not having all this. A damn freak of Tuesday happen. I'm a very jealous man. Please, can't share my woman with no. Oh, but God bless your marriage, bro. I said it years ago. He gonna get his karma. Oh, you talk about Diddy? Well, we'll get to Diddy in a second. Anyway, so that's that video right there. Let me play one more time. This short clip here. Let's see.
Something, no, see what a sex toy can do, what a good vibrator can do. I don't know one man that can do that job.
True that.
And
Now, after listening to this particular girl, what's her name? Doing, BBN's Doing. After listening to her, if someone on the podcast, go and listen to the podcast. I want you to go on this podcast. Like this girl she doesn't have much experience. Okay, she's just arguing some stuff that like this one. Who brought her here as expert of sex? Well, anyway, a little hyper with the sex thing. Like she said, what a sex toy can do, man. Like, let me tell you something. We're human beings. We're social beings. We're designed to connect with other human beings. The full fulfillment, satisfaction in sex will have to come from being with another human being. Okay? And if you don't understand that, you'll miss out. Okay?
that is just facts. You see that
And she called it facts.
reading, that consistency that the vibrator has. No man can wiggle his tongue consistently like that.
That's a very inaccurate comparison. A man is not designed to wiggle his tongue like a vibrator, right? The power of that human being touching you with their tongue is 10,000 times better than any 10,000 flicks of a vibrator. It's just different. It does something else different. It might be, again, all of it is mostly mental, you know. And the reason why I say we should have this conversation is because a lot of people are starting to put that toy on the pedestal, and they're going to, all of them together with the toy will fall off. It's not going to work eventually. Yeah, for a little short while, it's a short term, I guess, you know, but you will still need human being. If you're a typical human being, not every human being, if you're a typical human being, you need connection. It's a basic human need.
So sometimes, you know, when you're doing it with a man, he's getting the rhythm, and then he changes something. I'm like, oh my goodness, out of my face.
That is a good thing. If he's doing it and the rhythm is there and you thought you're about to come, right? And then he act like a human being. And like, oh, it's beautiful. You can start from scratch again and start the experience again, right? You might even be pissed off. Good. That means you were having a good time, right? Good. Let's start all over again. That's the whole point. That's why it's different than machines. That's why it's not a machine, right? But of course, a lot of people are just reading books and like, oh, it'll be sweet. And then when they now do it, they see that one will catch sea finish too, to get watered down, right? Because it's too much, right? It's too much, it's too much. There is such a thing as too much in life, right? Or too little, right? I get it. A lot of people are coming from too little, but people that come from too little, they do too much, and then they write it in a book somewhere, and somebody is fantasizing that a machine will take care of it for the rest of their life. No, it won't.
If your partner is giving you normal one and you have been taking it for years, and then vibrator just comes like this,
And your legs begin to shake like small generator.
and takes you there in 3 seconds. What are you doing with man again?
Yeah, I know one.
All right. Yeah, that's why it's a man. It's different, you know. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that today. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Exactly, winter is coming. Which machine is won by Wahala? Sex toy wear. Her man has made her come, and that's on period. Everyone these days will say, it's just. I mean, even myself, I say fact. I try not to, but I say it. It's just like when somebody say fact, just like which part of it is fact? I beg. Not to. No, MOP. We don't like starting all over. Stop it. No, you're not supposed to admit that you like starting all over. Okay. You're not supposed to admit that, right? But the more you have to start all over, the longer the experiences, the better the experiences, But I get it. Like once in a while, you throw it in there, you make sure she finishes, right? And sometimes you're like, no, we're starting all over. Fuck that, we're starting all over, right? If you have time, okay? If you have time, why not? MOP, we have heard the end of this discussion, bro. No, not yet. If you stop commenting, I will stop. That's mechanical. Oh, we haven't. You said we haven't had the end of this discussion. No, not yet. Hold on. We'll get to Diddy in a second. Because vibrator go pay school fees for your picking. Oh deep. But yes, it's a conversation that we need to start, especially for men, okay? Because what you're looking for, you're missing out. If you're close-minded about these topics, you're missing out big time. And I want to tell you that, my brothers, you're missing out big time, okay? And no, your woman is not going to become a corn star just because you're open-minded about the conversation. She's probably too busy. She won't remember to buy. But she's already asking twice. Second, she don't buy already. She's inviting you to a party and you're missing out big time. No, I don't want any part of that party. Baba, that party is getting bigger and bigger. You're outside of it. That's not what you want. Anyway, I'll yield. I'll be right back.
Beautiful girl, sparkling eyes, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
All right. Welcome back. Let me see what we have next here. Okay. Let's see. We have I want to see what is going on here. Apparently, this guy, Ari Song. Anybody know who Ari Song is? Ari Song has been he's been advising people to stop listening to Blessing Okoro. I said, what happened? I was like, Let me share my screen with you guys. I said, what happened? What did Blessing Okoro do? Relationship guru of all gurus. What did she do? Let the relationship guru, let her brief. But, I saw it. I don't know what happened, but I thought, let's talk about it. It says, stop taking dating advice on social media. It's from a content creator. Like, listen now, I'm a content creator, okay? And this is unnecessary stray bullets. I don't know what is going on here right now. Can we tell these people to let the content creators breathe?
Let be poor, breathe.
Let us breathe, right? Let us breathe. But I don't know if he has some kind of point he's trying to make here. It's from a content creator, Nahosu. Tell Enko. Anyway, with that being said, let me do some quick shout out to my sponsors. Shout out to my sponsors: Mo Fresh, Richie, Life with Natu, Adesua, Film Girl, Tima, Show Mama, Gores Corner, D Love. Shout out to you. We're up to $69.25. That's up from the last live show I did, $36. So thank you so much. You can support the platform for as low as 99 cents with the dollar sign below the chat button. All right. Anyway, he said Nahosu, they themselves are seeking help. What happened? Kilo shele go. Right? So now I think this is Instablog Nigeria just throwing stray bullets at Blessing Okoro and others. Okay. Well, most people that have listened enough to me will not compare me with Blessing Okoro. So it's okay. It's okay. I'm breathing. This is a person go cook for her man, finish, then come online to say, don't cook for men. Oh, this type of relationship gurus, eh? this type of relationship gurus. But I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you for this. This is awesome. Speaking of also, this is awesome. Somebody's jealous. Die right now. Huh? Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, sir. Anyway, person go cook for the man. Anybody know who Oloni is? Oloni was dragged online some months ago because she got proposed to, some social media influencer girl. She got proposed to after telling all her feminist followers to don't accept nonsense from men, and she would never date a man. She had some things that she said that she would never, not date a man, but she would never marry or something like that. Something, I'm paraphrasing, but something extreme in nature, right? So there's some gurus like that online. Okay. So there's a lot of the old cooking thing. Somebody will say, don't cook before you get married. Make sure you're married first before you cook. I'm like, cook is the biggest issues. Baba, if you can wait to not cook, now Baba, Mama, if you can wait until you marry before you will cook, you're not a cook already. You're probably not going to cook inside the marriage. Let's not be deceiving ourselves. That's why I said, listen, we've written books too, and we have another one coming out in December. You can get on the waiting list with loveandprestige.com. And I encourage people to read, but sometimes I please stop reading, please. I know it sounds weird, but please. All right, let's stop the reading. Let's do some practice. Let's get out here and do some practice. Go on a date, have a conversation with a person, go there to meet a person, just to get to know them without an agenda, right? Leave the questions behind. Just go there to have a good time, right? But they know they're here. So it's a lot of those things going on. So I understand. I'm actually happy that there's push against relationship gurus, and the ones that are authentic will last beyond the crisis. There is a crisis. There is a crisis of too many relationship advice everywhere. Okay, and it's a problem, and I think it's a function of people trying to figure this thing out, right? And that's fine, that's fine. So we gotta be careful with who you listen to, okay? Because oftentimes what they're saying to you will be 80% makes sense. There's a little small 20%. That your spirit is not agreeing with it, but this guy makes so much sense, yeah, right? And before you know it, you're listening to generalized nonsense, and you go and practice it. It will backfire. It will work against you. So you have to be very, very careful, right? If you can wait, if you are a cook, as in like naturally you cook, right? You won't be able to wait. You can't wait for him to taste your food. That goes for you, men. Some men are cooks. They're very good at cooking, right? You can't wait to cook for her. If you're on a date with her, you're falling in love with her, you think you see a future with her, you can't wait. Imagine somebody's answer, don't cook. Oh. Like the meanings of the advice is discombobulated. It's all destroyed. It's just all over the place. Like, wait, when I was doing the cooking, I wasn't doing it for her. I'm doing it for me. I can't wait to give this person a taste of what I can cook. Now, if this is a big struggle for you to comprehend, it's because you are not a cook in the first place. You need to tell that person, like, I'm not a cook. Oh. I will not cook when we're married. Though. Tell them right now up front. If that message resonates with you, right? Anything somebody said don't do until marriage, right? If that message resonates with you, too much, it just means you don't want to do the thing, okay? Now, that's one side of it. There's some things, right, that absolutely can destroy you, right? That you probably should calm down and get to know a person before you start to do all kind of financial kerewa or sexual kerewa with people that you don't know, obviously, right? Obviously. But I'm just saying, you got to be careful with these advisors everywhere right now. Some of them are coming out from very bad place in their relationship, and they can't wait to help other people avoid the same problem. Everybody's story is unique. If anybody's going to give you an advice, it needs to be with respect to your particular story. Anyway, Grace says, but isn't the rhetoric that he's using similar to what Tony Gaskin said last week about other relationship gurus? Yes, and I guess, it's similar. Yeah, you just gotta be careful. I'm saying the same thing right now. You gotta be careful with who you're listening to out there. If it's purely hustle, doesn't mean you can't get good advice from it, but you need to recognize that there's money involved in, and some of those guys are just going to put out the most viral videos just for the sake of it, right? And they will say things that will pander to you, and then you feel good about it, but eventually you find out that it's not applicable in real life, So for me personally, anybody using languages like narcissism, boundaries, intentionality, those things, again, they're cute on paper. You should have those things. But they're often disconnected from the reality of things, from application, right? And people will say, because you read it in a book somewhere, you tag onto it's like, yes. But then you really didn't get any benefit from that advice. Just saying, everybody should be careful. Last, maybe I'll go chop breakfast. You go do all right. Unqualified gurus, no experience, no certification. Yeah. Just got to be careful. So I know where it's coming from when he said that. Let me see here. It's just like asking a direction from a blind person. We never know road him or herself. Now mental case. But a lot of people are doing it. It's not because they want to do it. It's because they've heard something that resonates with how they feel already with their solution, so they can relate. Right? So it's not even like it matters the person who is saying it. It's somebody that said something that you can relate with. Like, for example, if you come out of a relationship and you feel like your ex was a narcissist, any video, doesn't matter if it's an animal, a donkey, a stupid person that's giving advice on narcissism, you just zone in. And all they have to do is say 3 sentences that make sense. The last sentence is dangerous, and you will eat all of it up. That's how it works. Okay, so it's relationship conversations everywhere. This is a good moment. It's like, I don't want to be a part of that, because Tony Gaskin even said it. Like he said he didn't want to be a part of it after a while, but no, that's dangerous. No, this is now that we need to. Those that have experience, that have something of value to share, this is when they need to start talking, to having conversation, because it's dangerous for all of us, right? To just let it be like that. Some say, I'll never try taking any relationship advice from anyone. I beg, you all do. Everyone does. Relationship therapies will never demand. Let me see. They are attacking Blessing CEO here. Somebody said the best thing you can do for yourself as an individual is to know the difference between real life and social media relationships. It should be in private, not on social media. So that someone who has failed not to be advising you on what to do in your relationship. A coming peace, words of wisdom from the King Solomon of our time. He said, "Okay, bro, if you say so." if you say so. But yes, that's the word that I have about that. Let's just all be careful with who you're listening to out there. But I think, by their fruits you shall know. Listen to them long enough. The small clips, the one that you see everywhere, the one that tends to go more viral. I can't generalize. You got to be careful with them. I have a hard time generalizing in general, but you have to be careful with those small clips. Okay. So and then some people can give a word of advice. Right, that's solid. That you can be like, they don't really have the best story, but because you have worked on yourself, you are able to discern. So you need discernment. You see what I mean? You need discernment skills. Discernment skills, something you build over time, is by studying yourself. By studying yourself, and then continue to study other people, and then you continue to study the society at large in terms of how emotions play a role in every part of our life. The reason why you see relationship topics everywhere is not because people are jobless. It's because it's the biggest piece of all of our lives, right? Not just only romantic, obviously, but even in every area of our life. Relationship is the biggest piece of everything, because we're social beings and we're emotional beings, and we're in a space that things are just all so bad that we really need to pay attention to learning how it works right? Learning what principles that are common across the board, right? And learning how to apply it to specific stories, right? And then, you know, and not just assume that, do what works for you. No, clearly it's not working. Clearly it is not working. Have you paid attention? Oh, but that's social media. That's not real life. Social media is real life. Okay. Listen carefully. Listen to what I just said. Social media is real life.
Stop the cap.
All right. That's a reflection of what's going on in real life. All right. So I'm going to give you an example right now. Let's play this video. This is an advice from T.I. the rapper, right? T.I. his track records is not the best, but he was having a conversation, and I want to hear your opinion on what you think about, not an advice, he was just answering a question on an interview, right? And let me play this really quickly, and let's take it from there. Let's see. T.I. the rapper, the American rapper, right? Let's go.
Nobody really care about you for real. The people who care about you gonna be right here under this roof. Outside that door, don't expect no favors or no love or appreciation from nobody. If you get it, assume it's fake. And if you find that it's real, appreciate it, but don't believe it. When you leave out this house, don't nobody really care about you for real.
All right. Did you guys hear that, or you want me to play it again? Did you guys want me to play that again? Did you hear? Right? Do you want me to play it again? Should I play it again? Let me play it again. Let's see.
Real. The people who care about you gonna be right here under this roof.
He said, when you get out of this house, don't nobody care about you. The people who care about you are gonna be right inside of this house, right?
Outside that door, don't expect no favors or no love or appreciation from nobody.
Don't expect favors, no love, appreciation from nobody, right?
If you get it, assume it's fake. And if you
get it, assume it's fake.
That it's real, appreciate it.
And if you find that it's real, appreciate it.
Don't believe it. When you leave out this house, don't nobody really care about you for real.
When you leave out of this house, don't nobody care about you for real. And my sentence don't get discombobulated, but when you leave out of this house, nobody cares about you for real, right? It says there is no real love once you leave out of your house, right? Now, context matters. Well, let me see some of this. Let me see here. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Ejo MOP, I beg, reduce the bass in your voice, smallo. Yellow, and I joke. Oh. Is it my bass voice is too deep? Sorry. No, are you talking about the mic? If you're talking about mic, let me know. If the mic is too loud, I'll turn it down, because I just brought it back from the overseas. So that's his worldview. Much better say T.I. spoke the truth, but the truth is not in him. You know, by their fruits you shall know, right? But sometimes you just hear it, right? So I think he's had his own struggle. I think he's trying to do the right thing. People are always trying to do the right thing, right? T.I. has some history there with regards to his faithfulness with his wife, right? But I think what he's speaking to is the grass is greener on the other side syndrome, right? We all have it. Let's be frank, okay? We all take for granted what is readily available to us. We all do that, right? Sometimes, in fact, it's actually worse when it's not overt, when it's not loud. It's actually worse because it sneaks up on you, right? Everything that you know is already available right there, you take it for granted. And everyone, you take them for granted. So when you get real love, right? When you get real love, you take it for granted. But he kind of find a balance there. He said, assume it's fake, but appreciate it. He said that. Appreciation does not always mean that you're saying thank you. You're able to zone in a little bit more and say, there's value here. Let me build on top of this value, right? Without adding guarantee to it that it must last forever. But the more you zone in on it and appreciate it, the more it tends to expand. Anything you focus on tends to expand. Particularly your outlook on life tends to expand. You know, the grass is not always greener on the other side. The key thing, the main point here is to appreciate. It's coming from T.I., the rapper with guns blazing. He almost went to jail for the rest of his life. cheating on his wife, all kind of stuff. We don't know. Advice can come from anywhere, right? The advice is thought to be turned into religion. What happens when you label a person a relationship guru expert is that you tend to take their words and you turn it to a religion. And I warn you guys against that here all the time. Don't take my words as religion. I want you to process it. I want you to push back sometimes. If it's authentic, I want you to push back. I want you to say, hey, I feel a little bit of a different way. No, my outlook, my outset's a little bit different. Then it's my show, so I take my time to expand my outlook on it. What I mean, I'll take my time to expand it a little bit more, right? But the point here is this: work on yourself. Okay, this is how we're going to mitigate against relationship guru expert. Is work on yourself. Just you. Take full responsibility for the results you are creating in your relationships, right? Become a student of it. Become a student of emotional intelligence. Don't just don't use common sense. Of course, use common sense, but you don't have to work extra hard and use common sense. You're probably using it already, but it's common sense, right? So if you're going to rise above common level, you're going to have to acquire a different type of wisdom. And we need more and more people doing that today. We need more coaches that have good experiences, good results to showcase. But even if they don't, they know the right thing to say. Because I don't know what's going on with this guy's life right now, but everything he just said made sense. Because I'm interpreting it from a standpoint of the grass is not always greener on the other side. Focus on what's in front of you. Assume that it's fake if you get it from outside, but appreciate it. Like, thanks for the love, right? Because it might expand, it might end up in your house. Because you go out on a date, that's outside of your house, right? But if you go down there, you assume worst case scenario, you create your reality, right? Basically, with the way you perceive your perceptions in life, your outlook on life, right? So it's a little tricky, right? So I can't, if you notice, there's a video that will play after this that I released earlier. Make sure you watch it. It's a video of Ace Metaphor giving an advice, right? The first time I listened to the guy, I'm like, it's confusing. What the hell is he talking about? This one, I'm like, okay, all right, he has a point here and there. And I will continue to do that, to add more context, because the most popular relationship guru platform coaches, right, their rhetorics are usually generalized. And it's dangerous for one side of the equation and some other side can find it useful, right? But they're not going to be a therapist. And they're there to make money. And you need to be clear about that. So somebody said now also, you best believe it. It's now also. Okay? Now also for real, for real. Hola, it's messing with you, Tony Gaskin and this matter. Yeah, I know they see face for inside chats now. I forgot what was said. Let's see. The reduce the bass in your voice that I typed was a joke at the wahala between. No, the thing is that I wanted to make sure that my microphone is not too loud too, because I just brought it back and I might have tuned it. If it sounds good, then good. But I got it. That it's a joke. I completely get it. The Tony Gaskin, reduce the bass in your voice, young man. Oh, bro. Listen. All right, so that's that for now. I want to use the rest of the evening. I wanted to use it to talk about Diddy, because bruh. Do me a favor, Sha. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. If you're shocking, please make sure you're subscribed. All right, I'll be right back.
Beautiful girl, sparkling night, killing time. I find a beautiful girl.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Me love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
All right. Let's talk about Diddy and this whole story with Diddy. It was settled. Can you believe it? Can you believe it was settled, right? Now, let me go back up here. Hopefully this message from oh, it's gone into the past. Let me see if it's still here. Okay, it's here. The comment from Michael P. Shout out to Michael P. Michael P is a long-term subscriber here, but I think he watches mostly replays. He said, today I went through all of the allegations levied against Diddy by Cassie, totaling about 64. Jesus Christ. Some horrific. I've got questions for Cassie and some for Diddy too. Settling her was a no-brainer. So I have a question for you, ladies and gentlemen, in the chat that you're listening to me. I have a very quick question for you. Right? Who is the liar? Who is the liar here? Diddy or Cassie? What do you think? Who is the liar? Diddy or Cassie? Puff, Diddy or Cassie? Was she lying? Was she just doing this just to get money? Or Diddy did it? What do you think? Diddy did it? Or this is all a lie? What do you guys think? Diddy did it? Or if you settle this kind of case, is that a demonstration that you did it? What does it mean to you? And I did ask a question when this first broke out like a few days ago. I asked a question, and this is some of the reasons why I always try to hang out on the fence a little bit, so we can see how some stories unfold, right? That's why I do that, because you just never know, right? You just never know. There's people always say there's two sides to a story. I said there's two sides plus the number of monitoring spirits watching the story. Everybody that will re-narrate what I said today will re-narrate their own version. That's just how it works. So because of that, there's too many variables. I have to be careful, and but some things we can see is just obvious. Something is almost impossible that this is not true, right? Almost impossible that it's not true. The quickest damn settlement ever, 24 hours. 24 hours. Hey, when I saw this story, I said this is another Tinubu story right here. Remember the Tinubu story that I covered? I said, why is Tinubu winning? The last time the Supreme Court gave him the complete license to take over Nigeria for the rest of the life of him and his family. I say, a lot of people don't really appreciate that kind of message, but I paint those pictures so you can really understand how life works. So you can manage your expectations around life. Is it sad? Yes, it's sad. If you think it's sad, you're right.
Well, you're right.
If you think it's sad, you're right. If you think it is what it is, power moves. He has power. He has money. Right? You two, you're right.
Well, you're right.
But let me read. I want to read this that was just published on vulture.com. It was just published on there like an hour ago. Let me read if we can catch some. Let's bring us up to speed. Who is Diddy? Diddy is a Puff Daddy. Diddy is a rapper, okay, a slash mogul, rap mogul, a hip hop rock star, all of the above, a billionaire, responsible for Mace, responsible for Shine, responsible for the group Total, responsible for 112, the group 112, responsible for Usher, responsible for a lot of hits upon hits upon hits upon hits, right? And if you know anything about how the industry worked in the 90s before there was the Me Too movement, oh yeah, he gets raunchy. Oh yeah. But the widest imagination, right? People have access to money, have access to resources, have access to power, have access to most people's fantasies. And guess what? A lot of them fulfill those fantasies, and like we were saying earlier about sex toys, there's some place you get to, you can't come back. Somebody say, that's not how it works. It expands and then it goes back to the way. Yeah, there's nothing in life that you can stretch beyond. Excuse me, okay? No, dirty mind. There's nothing in life that you can stretch beyond its elasticity. What's the English? Physicians. There's nothing in life you can stretch some things beyond repair. If you go too far, you might never be able to come back. There's literally nothing in life. Now, on an average, you are absolutely correct. Elasticity, reality, things go back to the equilibrium. But sometimes people think equilibrium will change zone. That's a principle of life. So sometimes you go too far because God gave you too much money and too much power, and you can't come back from it. This time around, he kind of came back from it. And I know this society, they're going to forgive him. They're going to forget. Once in a while, they just say, Diddy did it. Right? They just say, hey, yeah, Diddy has his history. They'll forget about it. If he let time pass a little bit, 3-4 years from now, drop a few hits, like, oh, it's a lovable Diddy. Yeah, right? Yeah, they'll forget. Because that's just our nature as human beings. Time is not your mate. Time sometimes will heal, okay? To let you just forget. You just create new experiences. You forget. That's why I said don't even not us normal people, we're not doing something crazy. If you just calm down, trust will come back. If you just relax, human beings will trust you again. If you just not overreact to everything, heaven will not fall out of the skies. I say that here all the time, right? And that's applicable across the board. Why? Because we encourage it. We enable it indirectly or directly. That's the way it works. So this was settled. And civil case. Somebody said, why should it be about money? This woman just wants some money. I was like, no, it's not that simple too. Of course, money is involved because lawyers have to get paid, system have to get paid, and some people say there's a price for everything. There's a lot of truth to that, right? Because the headache is time, right? Time is a function of a lot of things: money, resources, energy, right? You might just find solace. It's like, you know what? Instead of me dragging my life and my family, my children through all of that drama, let me collect this $100 million and go and sit down somewhere. Will it heal you? No, it won't. Right? But we can't judge her. Right? Can't do that. Right? Before we could say Jack Robinson, the settlement don't finish, completed. I actually believe Cassie, there's been a whole lot of issue in the streets about Diddy. As some of the things she said is a confirmation that stuff went down. I have no doubt. Personally, I have no doubt that it went down exactly the way it went down. Now, is it an absolute that she wasn't participating? No, but she was a child. It's practically a child when she entered that camp, right? And there's a reason. You can't say a child, I know she's 19, but still, she was practically a child with a person who was extremely powerful with all this money and resources and access. Yeah, it's not balanced, right? And again, like I said, these people will push themselves and they will continue. They will look at what R. Kelly did to himself, right? I can't judge them too, but you gotta be careful. When God has given you, granted you blessings, access to everything, or more, pride is not your mate. You better have support system, accountability systems around you, because you will self-destruct. Too much access, too much freedom. You will self-destruct. Yeah. And I think a lot of them are not prepared for the Me Too movement, this era of transparency. They're not prepared for it. So there's more to come. Yeah, he's settled, but there's more to come. Just wait for it. Okay? Because the 90s is just different from the 2023. And if you want to enjoy the rest of your life, yeah, I don't know, I don't know how he's going to escape it. Because already it's at least about 2 or 3 other people speaking out. It's just that they don't know the secret. Majority of them probably don't know the secret that Cassie knows. Cassie was with him for 10 years. Yeah. So they don't have much on him. Right? And he's been getting away, right? So this one is like, but he's lucky enough, he has enough money. It's not liquid money. It's probably people it's probably a few people that their 7-figure salaries are attached to Diddy. Said Diddy will donate. Here's $10 million. Here's $1 million. Here's $1 million. Just give it to her. Let her go away somewhere. That's how life works. Protect yourself. Protect your children. Train your children. Listen to me. Listen to me carefully. Train your children. Predators are everywhere. Men and women. Don't let some bumbo clat tell you that it's just, excuse my French, that it's just men or it's just women. Train your children. Train them how to navigate this very dangerous world. This is a very dangerous place. Life is sweet, but this world is dangerous. People just want to when it becomes survival, any human being will do what they have to do. When it's translated, when it's interpreted as survival, listen to me, this is not generalization. Every human being will do what they have to do when if they bring it down to science that says this is about survival. They will throw you under the bus. They will do what they have to do. They will take advantage of your children. God forbid. Train your kids. Don't be that naive about this world, okay? And when it comes down to it, the reality will kick in, which is that money can buy anything. You recall the R. Kelly case, that the parents were involved. Some of the parents were involved in some shenanigans. They were literally indirectly selling their children because of the attention they will get from R. Kelly's camp. I just want you to be aware of how this thing works, right? Is it settled? That is not fair. American system is terrible. No, you're a liar. That's just how it works. Until it doesn't work anymore. As of this yesterday, it worked. He probably doesn't have peace of mind right now still, but with time, if things get quiet a little bit, he will gain some of it back. And if you're that worried about peace of mind, they probably don't have peace of mind because they're always looking over their shoulder. $1 billion worth, net worth is not your mate. You're always looking over your shoulder because there's always somebody coming from behind to take over your spot. And you're so obsessed too, you don't want to let go of that spot. Right? But there's nobody that's worth $1 billion that is not being supported, enabled by the society itself. That's why I want you to bring yourself down from the pedestal, right? Directly or indirectly. Either you streamed by mistake, the song went to it by mistake, or you are supporting, you're enabling it. It's just a part of a society, an ecosystem. And because of that, it was able to settle. Right? So the only thing you can really do about this is yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Protect your own territory. Right? Do everything in your power. How do you protect? The best way to protect your children is train them. Training. You don't protect them by sheltering them. That's not how you protect them. You're making it worse. You need to train them. Okay? You need to train them. Have conversations with them. Have this kind of conversations with them. Case studies. Right? Once they are entering that 9 years old zone, it's time to start having those conversations. Because again, people, sometimes the closest people to them, sometimes their own mother, out of a spirit, a need for survival, will step over their own children. That's just how it works. If you don't believe me, you haven't seen it yet. It's okay. Relax. You will find out. Only with a matter of time. So the best you can do is surround yourself, your children, with the right trainings and everything like that. And especially when you bring romance into it, But anyway, these allegations were very serious. If they tried to drag it in court, it would have gotten ugly. Exactly. That's why it was settled. All right. And a whole lot of things would have come out with receipts such as actual hospital reports, etc. All right. Yep. That's what's going on there. I feel like if someone was hit with this level of 35-page horrific allegations that he was completely innocent, he would have fought. No, it's not. It's not innocent. It's not innocent. It doesn't mean that everything she said was truth or absolute truth. She clearly was going into her experiences and stuff, right? But it's believable. Again, the lifestyle, that rock star lifestyle. I mean, if you've listened to people tell you the lifestyle of the princes, then Michael Jackson a little weird on the weird side, but like Prince, all this Quincy Jones, all these people from the 90s, from the 80s, with so much money and so much secrecy, very little transparency, it's all believable. Okay, yeah, it's a civil case. Yeah, it's a civil case, so it's about money. Dirty money. He's getting too old to wash it now. Yeah. She has the rest of her life to deal with this trauma that happened over a long period of time of 10 years. Yeah, because that money they just given her, that money is not gonna last. I don't care if it's $100 million. Some people are speculating it's $100 million. Some people are speculating that it's probably less, because typical settlement will be less than what they're asking for, right? But it depends on what is inside of, depends on what we have in there. Hold on, let me see something here. I'm trying to see if it's even possible to pull something up here. Let me see. Yeah, it depends on what she has, because whatever you see in the document, it's probably a lot more. All right, so let me see here. I'm not really an expert at reading legal documents. I'm not, okay, but let's dive in through this. Let me see if this is what I found. Let's get through it. Let's see. Other folks will come out to the woodworks because this will give them out the courage. Yeah. Anyway, let me see what is in the beginning of this document. United States District Court, Southern District Court of New York. Cassandra Ventura versus Sean Combs. Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records, Epic Records, Comb Enterprises LLC, and Doe Corporations. Plaintiff Cassandra hereby alleges as and for her complaint against defendant Sean Combs and all of these different entities as follows. Preliminary statement. Defendant Sean Combs is a rapper and record executive popularly known by his stage names. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or Diddy. Mr. Combs came to fame in the early 1990s with his record label Bad Boy Records. He rose to prominence in the music and entertainment industry over the decades and is regularly referred to as a hip-hop mogul. In 2022, Mr. Combs received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Self-Collect. During his acceptance speech, Mr. Combs stated, I have to give a special shout out, thank you, love, to the people that was really there for me. He named a number of people before adding, and also Cassie for holding me down in the dark times, love. Okay, the truth, however, is that Cassie, Miss Cassandra Ventura, was held down by Mr. Combs and endured over a decade of his violent behavior and disturbed demands. For Miss Ventura, the dark times were those she spent trapped by Mr. Combs in a cycle of abuse, violence, and sex trafficking. Ouch. Among other violent and unlawful acts, Mr. Combs raped Miss Ventura in her own home after she tried to leave him, often punched, beat, kicked, and stomped on Miss Ventura, resulting in bruises, burst lips, and black eyes and bleeding. Blew up a man's car after he learned that he was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. Forced Miss Ventura to engage in sex acts with male sex workers while masturbating and filming the encounters. Jesus. Ran out of his apartment with a firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. Wow. Demanded that Miss Ventura to carry his firearm in her purse just to make her uncomfortable and demonstrate how dangerous he is. Wow. And introduced Miss Ventura to a lifestyle of excessive alcohol and substance abuse and required her to procure illicit prescriptions to satisfy his own addiction. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in 2005 when she was 19 years old and he was 37 years old. He signed her to his label, Bad Boy Records, and within a few years, lured Miss Ventura into his ostentatious, fast-paced, and drug-fueled lifestyle and into a romantic relationship with him, her boss. One of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry and a vicious, cruel, and controlling man, nearly 2 decades our senior. Excuse me. Let me see here. All right, good. Mr. Combs, number 5. Mr. Combs asserted complete control over Miss Ventura's personal and professional life, thereby ensuring her inability to escape his hold. He provided unprecedented avenues for success for the aspiring artist, but in return demanded obedience, loyalty, and silence. 6. Throughout their relationship, Mr. Combs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat Miss Ventura savagely. These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff and employees of Bad Boy Entertainment. So we've seen some of this. All this. Let me see. Yeah, but let me just do it detailed, right? These beatings were witnessed by Mr. Combs' staff, employees of Bad Boy Entertainment, and Mr. Combs' related businesses, but no one dared to speak up against the frightening and ferocious boss. 7. Following these episodes of horrific abuse, Mr. Combs would immediately attempt to hide Miss Ventura and the evidence of his violent rage. He often showered her with gifts following incidents of physical violence. A typical pattern of behavior by serial abusers. 8. In addition to the physical assault, Mr. Combs frequently reminded Miss Ventura of his ability to cause serious harm, whether by requiring her to carry his gun in a purse or by blowing up the car of a musician that was romantically interested in Miss Ventura. 9. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs used illegal substances and threats of violence to force Miss Ventura into repeated unwanted sexual encounters with male sex workers. 10. Over the years that Mr. Combs abused Miss Ventura physically and sexually, she again and again tried to escape his tight hold over her life. Every time she hid, Mr. Combs' vast network of corporations and affiliated entities found her, and those who worked for Mr. Combs' companies implored her to return to him. Many went as far as explicitly state that her failure to return to Mr. Combs would hinder her success in the entertainment industry. 11. When she believed that she had finally separated her long-time abuser, she joined Mr. Combs for a dinner. That one, shao. What does this mean? Can you guys tell me what was going on through her mind? Why would she join him for dinner? I'm asking for a friend. Why would she join him for a dinner? After everything we've read thus far, about 19 already. Right? This is bad. Karma is real though. I don't doubt that there might be some truth. What? There's truth. There's truth everywhere on this. There is truth everywhere written on this. But allegedly. This is allegations, right? Anyway. Mr. Combs for a dinner. After which he forced her into her home. After the dinner. Forced her into her home and gripped her while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Jesus Christ. 12. Miss Ventura has now fully escaped Mr. Combs, but the harm that the assaults and sexual abuse he caused her to experience for nearly a decade will forever haunt her. She has required intensive medical and psychological care to recover from the trauma she lived through. 13. Yeah, in terms of allegedly, I hear you. Yeah. She cannot, however, continue to live in silence about what she endured. Accept this, right? Mr. Combs remains immensely powerful and immensely dangerous. Miss Ventura therefore seeks justice for the decade of her life that Mr. Combs took away from her. I guess money is money justice? I don't know, man. Let me continue. I would love to hear your opinion on that. That Mr. Combs took away from her with threats of violence, excessive use of drugs, and physical and psychological abuse and sexual slavery. 14. Accordingly, Miss Ventura brings his action seeking what kind of legal word is this? Injunctive, declarative, and monetary relief. Oh, okay. So here, this one. Accordingly, Ms. Ventura brings this action seeking injunctive, declarative, and monetary relief against defendants in violation of federal sex trafficking laws. 18 U.S.C. 1591, the New York State Human Rights Law, New York Executive Law 290, blah, 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 blah. Number 15, jurisdiction and venue. This court has jurisdiction pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 3031 as this action asserts violation of 18 U.S.C. 1591 and therefore raises federal questions regarding the deprivation of plaintiff rights. The court has supplemental jurisdiction over plaintiff. Oh my God, let me see if there's anything else. Okay, parties. All right, so they're talking about all the parties involved that they named earlier on. The LLC, Defendant Bad Boy Records LLC. It's a Delaware Limited Liability. See, Epic Records, of course, which is, I think, is the parent company of Bad Boy. All right, factual allegation. Miss Ventura met Mr. Combs in late 2005 after Mr. Combs heard Miss Ventura's first single playing in the club and expressed interest in signing her to his label, Bad Boy Records. At the time, Miss Ventura was 19 years old. Mr. Combs was 37 years old. Within months, that's number 26, within months, in February 2006, Miss Ventura signed a 10-album deal. That is a lot of albums. That sounds like you're trying to sign somebody away for life. Miss Ventura's first album, Cassie, was released in August 2006, debuting at number 4 on the US Billboard 200 because, you know, he's the hit maker, right? He has the connection to get those songs played. To promote the album, Miss Ventura made television appearances on MTV's TRL, BET's 106 & Park. Miss Ventura suffered from significant performance anxiety during these appearances, and press outlets were highly critical of Miss Ventura's performances on those shows. You could hear the nervousness in her voice. At the time, I just thought she couldn't sing. But anyway, and to be honest, because I remember that, I kind of smiled at it because it made me really appreciate what I really love about her. She's a regular person. It just made me appreciate that she got nervous, and it was kind of cute to me. To be honest, you've got to understand the success for her is coming out of nowhere. It's just so huge, and sometimes everybody handles it differently. Okay? Is that what Mr. Combs said? Mr. Combs, however, sought to rehabilitate his newly signed talent. Okay, that's what he said back then. While clearly paternalistic in noting, and it was cute to him, paternalistic in noting that it was cute to him how regular Miss Ventura appeared. Mr. Combs' comments rang through to some extent upon signing with Bad Boy Records. Miss Ventura was quickly thrust into the spotlight and was unfamiliar with how to navigate her new celebrity status. So anyway, they're supposed to write all this stuff just to make their case, I guess. Mr. Combs' recognition and glorification of Miss Ventura's naivety proved to set the groundwork for his manipulative and coercive romantic and sexual relationship with Miss Ventura, a woman nearly 2 decades his junior. 32. Within a year of signing with Bad Boy Records, Mr. Combs became deeply entrenched in Miss Ventura's life, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. The thing about this is that the whole world could see this playing out. Obviously not the privates, but it was obvious, all right? And obviously they got together, romantically speaking. In November 2006, Mr. Combs invited Miss Ventura to perform a song, Come to Me, along with him at the MTV Europe Music Awards in Copenhagen, Denmark. After rehearsal for the performance, Mr. Combs walked around in a robe with a drink in his hand, flaunting his lavish party lifestyle to his label's newly signed artist. I can picture this. God forbid. Train your children. Oh. So even if they find themselves in this kind of space, there's a parent around always. Because again, a child may be aspiring to be a superstar, a rock star, a basketball player, anything, right? A parent should be around. You don't have to be a manager to be around. Okay? You don't have to be a business manager to be around to protect your children. Okay, so you might have a child that said, no, I don't want you to be a momager. I don't want you to be. You said, yeah, but we're not doing it. You're still mine. Unless you can turn 18 and do you, but before 18, no, we're gonna be around. And in fact, I would appreciate another person to be a business manager, but we're gonna be around as a, what do they call it, chaperone or something like that. To be a parent. How about just to be a parent? So, and if that's not in the budget, then forget about it. 34. During hair and makeup leading up to the performance, Miss Ventura's hairstylist and Mr. Combs' makeup artist told Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs was interested in Miss. Wait. During hair and makeup leading up to the performance, Miss Ventura's hairstylist and Mr. Combs' makeup artist told Miss Ventura that Mr. Combs was interested in Miss Ventura. Miss Ventura shrugged off the gossip and in fact expressed disgust given the large age gap between her and the president of her record label. 35. Emphasizing the age and power dynamic early on in their working relationship, Mr. Combs positioned himself as a father figure and protector of Miss Ventura. By way of example, after returning to New York after a trip to Las Vegas, during which she endured a brief hospital stay, Miss Ventura, who by then was fully healthy, went out to a club with her friends. Abort mission. When Mr. Combs saw her out, he reprimanded her, telling her to go home and take care of herself. At the time, Miss Ventura thought that her record label was looking out for her well-being and that Mr. Combs had her best interest in mind. 36. Mr. Combs also ensured he was intertwined with Miss Ventura's personal and social life. For instance, by inviting himself to Miss Ventura's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas. 21. Oh, well, that's like tomorrow from my 15-year-old son. Yeah. He also brought also famous musicians and producers, thereby flaunting his celebrity status and influence in front of a young and impressionable Miss Ventura. 37. Although Mr. Combs knew that Miss Ventura was in a relationship at the time, and even though he was publicly in a relationship with Kim Porter, right, the late Kim Porter, Mr. Combs nevertheless pursued Miss Ventura. At an after party in a hotel suite following Miss Ventura's 21st birthday party, Mr. Combs pulled Miss Ventura into a bathroom and forcibly kissed her. Damn. You know, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. You can go too far and not be able to come back. When you have too much money, too much access, too much power, right? You would think that, hey, you can get any girl you want, literally, right? Yeah, but that's not how the brain works. That's not how the brain works. This is why you need to have accountability systems around you, especially when you're a person of status, right? To protect you against you. Yeah, to protect you against you. Miss Ventura did not consent to this unwanted contact. She immediately ran out of the bathroom and the hotel suite and cried. She told her best friend at the time about what had happened, but was too scared to tell anyone else. 38. At the Video Music Awards the following day, Miss Ventura's boyfriend at the time joined her and Mr. Combs at a table at the awards ceremony. Mr. Combs became angry. Can't even control himself. Telling Miss Ventura that the invitation to the awards ceremony was only for her and not for her significant other. Yeah, it's going to become awkward. 2. Mr. Combs lures Miss Ventura into a relationship. 39. Despite her clear rejection of Mr. Combs' advances, Mr. Combs continued to demand Miss Ventura spend time with him, including for a weekend at Mr. Combs' residence in Miami and for night out in New York City. 40. On one particular night around September 2007, Mr. Combs insisted on taking Miss Ventura out. Miss Ventura acquiesced, fearing that rejecting Mr. Combs' request would have repercussions for our album deal with Mr. Combs and his company, Bad Boy Records. 41. Mr. Combs picked up Miss Ventura from our apartment in Manhattan in a blue luxury vehicle. Miss Ventura was surprised that when she got into the car, Mr. Combs was already inebriated. What is that? What's inebriated? Hey, Jesus, what is that? My English is not going that far. Let me see. He was drunk and intoxicated. Oh, wow. All right, let's keep going. 42, he landed her a pill and told her to take it. When Miss Ventura asked what the pill was, Mr. Combs dismissed her and told her she would like it. She later learned the pill was ecstasy. This is obvious. This is obvious. Right? This is obvious. You've seen this in movies, right? But obviously it's obvious. They have money, access, drugs, sex, all that kind of stuff. And they don't know when to just... There's some girls that would just happily be in that ward. Well, usually those kind of girls too, typically they've been taken advantage of. They were, probably young girls. Sometimes 14, 15, 16 when they got into that ward. It's just dangerous. It's dangerous. Oh my God. Anyway. She later learned that it's ecstasy, something Miss Ventura had never before tried and did not want to try. This was the first time Mr. Combs got Miss Ventura high. 43. Mr. Combs then proceeded to drive recklessly at very high speeds down the West Side Highway of Manhattan. Miss Ventura was very scared but did not dare to object to Mr. Combs, who appeared drunk, high, and agitated. 44. Mr. Combs took Miss Ventura to an upscale lounge in downtown Manhattan where he proceeded to get into an altercation with the security staff who would not admit Mr. Combs to enter, presumably because he was belligerent. Miss Ventura decided to go home, but for the remainder of the night, Mr. Combs messaged Miss Ventura incessantly, complaining that he left him high and alone. Yeah, I bet he did. 45. In early fall 2007, Mr. Combs flexed his power and influence when he paid a promoter to create a fake flyer for a party hosted by Miss Ventura. This fake posting allowed Miss Ventura to have an excuse to go to Miami, Florida and get her away from my boyfriend by using the guise of a legitimate event she had to attend. Miss Ventura was stunned at how easily Mr. Combs was able to recruit others to lie for him. 46. Miss Ventura was uncomfortable with the fake flyer, but because the request to go to Miami was made by the owner to go against his wishes and face repercussions to her nascent career, Miss Ventura agreed to join Mr. Combs in Florida. 47. During this trip to Miami, Mr. Combs provided Miss Ventura with copious amounts of drugs. She became more intoxicated than she ever had before, and her intoxication lasted throughout the weekend trip. As she wanted Mr. Combs to hold on one second, let me just see here. All right. As she wanted Mr. Combs to continue to support her career, she felt she could not... Let me make sure that my audio is good. Okay, good. She felt she could not refuse Mr. Combs urging her to take more drugs. After providing her with drugs, Mr. Combs had sexual intercourse with Miss Ventura during this trip. 48. Within 2 years of meeting Mr. Combs, Miss Ventura found herself lured into the immediate circle of her boss, the owner of her record label, and one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry. Mr. Combs exerts control over Miss Ventura's career and personal life. 49. From the very start of the relationship, Mr. Combs exerted his power and influence over Miss Ventura. This dynamic was fueled by their nearly 20-year age difference, as well as their relative positions in the entertainment industry, with Mr. Combs considered a music mogul and Miss Ventura at the very start of her career as an entertainer. 50. I guess we're going to 64. Somebody said that earlier. Mr. Combs' aggressive and demanding approach to those he worked with made it impossible for anyone to challenge him, and Miss Ventura soon learned that Mr. Combs insisted on blind loyalty from everyone in his inner circle. 51. Although Miss Ventura had saved up some earnings from her young modeling career, Mr. Combs' ostentatious display of wealth was intimidating to her. 52. Mr. Combs paid for things with wads of cash and would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura, "Don't worry about money, I have money." 53. Mr. Combs expensed lavish vacations for him and Miss Ventura, purchased a car for her, paid for her apartment, and provided her with extensive amounts of designer clothing. 54. Around 2008 or 2009, Mr. Combs began to rent an apartment in Manhattan for Miss Ventura. The apartment was within walking distance of Mr. Combs' New York residence. He first showed Miss Ventura the apartment by bringing her there along with her parents. Miss Ventura's parents were skeptical of the mogul's display of wealth, but proud of their daughter's newfound success. Yeah, tricky, right? Yeah. 55. Around 2010, Mr. Combs similarly paid for an apartment for Miss Ventura in Los Angeles, which was located about 5 minutes away from Mr. Combs' residence. He paid for many of her apartments in California and also purchased a Jaguar for her around 2013 and 2014. 56. All aspects of Miss Ventura's life were controlled by either Mr. Combs or his management companies. Every event Miss Ventura attended, from the travel to the makeup and clothing, was paid for directly by Mr. Combs and his affiliated companies. 57. Compounded this all encompassing intrusion into her life, Mr. Combs secured his control over the young and impressionable Miss Ventura by introducing her to a drug-fueled lifestyle that kept her complacent and compliant. Mr. Combs first introduced Miss Ventura to opiates around 2008 and would often have pills and other drugs out in the open like candy. Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs has been addicted to prescription painkillers and took ecstasy frequently. 58. At first, Miss Ventura was given the prescriptions that Mr. Combs received from a doctor in Miami, Florida. Eventually, when Mr. Combs exhausted a supply of pills, he demanded that Miss Ventura procure prescriptions from this Miami doctor in her own name. 59. Mr. Combs also became deeply involved in Miss Ventura's personal life with his personal staff, attending to Miss Ventura's day-to-day travel and other needs, including medical care. On multiple occasions, Mr. Combs had Miss Ventura's personal medical records sent directly to his email address. For instance, when Miss Ventura began experiencing memory loss, potentially due to excessive drug use and or head injuries caused by Mr. Combs' beatings, as described below, our MRI results were provided directly to Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs also repeatedly arranged for his staff to drive Miss Ventura to certain doctors' appointments. 60. In this way, Mr. Combs exerted ownership over Miss Ventura as another example of the ways in which he manipulated Miss Ventura and ensured obedience. Earlier on in their relationship, he asked Miss Ventura what she called her grandfather. When Mr. Ventura said, wait, hold on one second. Let me see here. You see, close. All right, good. Just wanted to make sure of something. Earlier on in their relationship, he asked Miss Ventura what she called her grandfather. When Mr. Ventura said that she referred to her grandfather as Pop, Mr. Combs perversely insisted that Miss Ventura referred to him with that nickname. Jesus Christ. All right, Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura's relationship becomes violent and abusive. So 61. What started as a whirlwind of celebrity meetings and drug and alcohol-fueled parties, however, quickly turned frightening and violent. 62. Miss Ventura was also exposed to the intense violence that pervaded Mr. Combs' rise to fame. For example, on one occasion when Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura were using drugs together in his home, one of his security staff barged in and announced that Suge Suge Knight. Suge Knight, a longtime rival of Mr. Combs, was spotted at Mel's Drive-In Diner in Los Angeles. Mr. Combs began to get dressed, retrieved multiple guns from his safe, and ran out of his home to where he believed Mr. Knight was dining. Miss Ventura became terrified and began to cry. She was such a young girl at the time. It just makes sense. 63. On at least 2 occasions, Mr. Combs demanded that Miss Ventura hold Mr. Combs' gun in her purse. Miss Ventura had no familiarity with guns and was petrified that the firearm would accidentally go off in her purse. There was no clear reason why Mr. Combs required her to hold these guns, except to reinforce to his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful, and dangerous. 64. Over the next decade, multiple times each year, Mr. Combs would violently beat Miss Ventura, leaving bruises on her body. After every instance in which he beat Miss Ventura, Mr. Combs used his money and power to orchestrate extensive efforts to hide the evidence of his abuse, including by hiding Miss Ventura in hotels for days at a time to let her bruises heal. 65. In one such instance, after a party with Jay-Z, Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura repeatedly in an escalade. Why do you have to bring Jay-Z's name into this? Eh? Why is Jay-Z collecting on this one? Anyway, in escalade, including by kicking and hitting her, he forced her out of the vehicle on 5th Avenue in New York City. She was eventually able to hail a cab and get to her apartment in Manhattan, where she cried in fear, realizing there was no one she could tell about what had happened at the hands of this incredibly powerful man. She spent the subsequent 3 days hiding in her apartment. In January 2009, after Mr. Combs learned that Miss Ventura spoke to another music manager at a party in Los Angeles, he became enraged. She had hoped speaking to this manager would allow her to further grow her career and that Mr. Combs would be happy for her. Nibo. But instead, he became extremely angry and put her out of the club where the party was taking place. 67. In the car leaving the club, Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura, pushing her into a corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. Mr. Combs' security staff, Roger Bond, tried to stop the beating but was unable to de-escalate the situation. When the car arrived at Mr. Combs' residence, Miss Ventura attempted to run away, but Mr. Combs followed her and proceeded to again kick her in the face. Miss Ventura was bleeding profusely and was ushered into Mr. Combs' home, where she began to throw up from the violent assault. Jesus. Ajibola Olufemi said, Ola, for a woman or man to be with a wealthy person for 10 years and no marriage in the modern world, the wealthy person go collect. Renee on point. Oh Lord. Yes, a happy call, happy knee. Right? That he will be happy for her, right? Yeah. They probably had a lot of confusing moments where things seems to be good and then they go extremely bad. It's probably extremes. It's probably from one extreme to the other, right? That can be confusing to a young girl like her. Let's see here. So during this stay, as her injuries from the beating healed, let me see here. Upon 68, upon recognizing the damage he had done and the physical evidence of his abuse, Mr. Combs panicked and forced his staff to bring Miss Ventura to a hotel suite at the London Hotel in Los Angeles, where she was required to stay for a week. 69. During this stay, as her injuries from the beating healed, Miss Ventura began to fully realize that Mr. Combs' tremendous loyal network not only knew about and witnessed his assault, but also that these witnesses were not willing to do anything meaningful to stop Mr. Combs' behavior. These people are probably making 6 figures, multiple 6 figures working for him. like any other society, when there's bad behavior going on, there's more than enough people who are enabling the bad behavior, because it's attached to survival. Yeah, that's why you gotta protect your own children. She recognized that she was powerless and that reporting Mr. Combs to the authorities would not alter Mr. Combs' status or influence, but would merely give Mr. Combs another excuse to hurt her, especially back then. So we're in the Me Too movement now. Everybody's afraid of the Me Too movement. So, but some of those past will hunt people down. You can see more and more of it will come out. Okay. 70. While in the hotel, she asked to go home to her parents, but Mr. Combs wouldn't let her leave. She lied to her mother when she asked about her online gossip from forum that reported the assault. 71. Mr. Combs proceeded to instruct his assistants to purchase excessive amounts of gifts for Miss Ventura, which were delivered to the hotel room where she remained trapped. 72. Miss Ventura was terrified, isolated, and unable to see a pathway out of Mr. Combs' abusive hold on her life. 73. She found herself becoming numb to the abuse she was experiencing and became entirely beholden to Mr. Combs' demands. She began to blindly follow his instructions out of fear of again being on the receiving end of a vicious beating. 74. I thought it was 64. Jesus. By Mr. Combs' own admission, his relationship with Miss Ventura was like Bobby and Whitney. Oh wow. That's a stupid comparison. A clear acknowledgement of the unequal power dynamic and excessive domestic violence that permeated their relationship. From the outside looking in, Miss Ventura had heard others refer to her relationship with Mr. Combs as akin to Ike and Tina. Even worse. 75. A volatile and abusive partner who also owned her label and therefore held her future success in his hands, had fully exerted control over every aspect of her life. Mr. Combs forces Miss Ventura into sex trafficking. 76. Within a few months of beginning a romantic relationship with 40-year-old Mr. Combs, the 22-year-old Miss Ventura felt beholden to his whims and demands. 77. While in New York City, Mr. Combs told Miss Ventura that he wanted to engage in a fantasy of his called voyeurism. Mr. Combs said that it would turn him on if he saw Miss Ventura with another dick. 78. The first time Mr. Combs hired a man and brought the man to his home in Los Angeles. The man, Mr. Combs, and Miss Ventura wore masquerade masks and ingested drugs. Mr. Combs directed Miss Ventura to perform sexual acts with this man while Mr. Combs watched them. He masturbated while he directed Miss Ventura and the man to do specific sexual acts. Jesus Christ. 79. The entire encounter lasted multiple days. 80. Mr. Combs began to call the arrangement a freak off, or FO. He would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO, and Miss Ventura was eventually expected to facilitate the location and the hiring of male sex workers. 81. At certain points during Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs' relationship, he would insist on an FO weekly. Mr. Combs would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura that this freak-off was our thing and our secret. 82. Freak-offs would often take place in hotel suites, include at the Trump International Hotel in Colombo Circus. Why you brought Trump name into this? Why is Trump collecting? Why not be like this now? Of course, Trump name must enter. Anyway, the London Hotel Los Angeles, the Intercontinental Century City, the Intercontinental Atlanta, the Intercontinental New York City, the One Hotel in New York, and in Miami, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in New York, and in Miami, the Fountain Blue in Miami, the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Shutters and Beach in Los Angeles. So it's across state lines. This is what they mean by sex trafficking. On one occasion around 2013, Mr. Combs had a freak-off setup at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York City, after which he was charged with tens of thousands of dollars in damages by the hotel. Irony, what happened inside there? Upon information and belief, Mr. Combs' chief of staff, Tony Fletcher, paid the invoice charged by the hotel. 84. Ms. Ventura was eventually instructed to use websites and escort services to find male sex workers to participate the freak-offs. Mr. Combs told Ms. Ventura to search for large black penises on the website. They even have a phrase. Don't go and be searching. 85. Sometimes Mr. Combs would pay to fly male sex workers to his location, including to multiple cities in the United States as well as abroad. He required Ms. Ventura and his staff to help him make this arrangement. 86. Mr. Combs' assistants would help to set up the freak-offs, including by setting up the hotel suites with baby Hoyer. Do you have Hoyer? And Astoglide. 87. Mr. Combs always supplied Ms. Ventura and the sex worker with copious amounts of drugs before and during the freak-offs. Ms. Ventura was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts during freak-offs, which allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. It became commonplace to get IV fluid in the days after a freak-off to recover from the excessive substances pushed upon her. 88. Ms. Ventura was required to dress up in lingerie for a freak-off, and Mr. Combs insisted she wear white nail polish to contrast her nails with the skin of the black men he hired to have sex with her. 89. During the freak-off, Mr. Combs would instruct Ms. Ventura to pour excessive amounts of oil over herself. 90. Mr. Combs would then instruct Ms. Ventura and the sex workers to speak to each other, and then would specifically tell Ms. Ventura where to touch the sex workers. Mr. Combs would say things like, "Grab that big black dick," and ask her, "How does it feel?" as he directed her to perform for him. 91. During the freak-offs, in addition to directing Ms. Ventura and masturbating, Mr. Combs would use his phone, laptop, and tablet to film Ms. Ventura having sex with the hired sex worker. He treated the forced encounter as a personal art project, adjusting the candles he used for lighting to frame the videos he took. 92. While Ms. Ventura quickly deleted any photographs or video of sex acts if they were taken on her, Mr. Combs repeatedly made clear that he retained many videos of Ms. Ventura during freak-offs. 93. Even when she deleted the videos, Mr. Combs would tell Ms. Ventura that he was able to recover deleted videos from her devices. On one occasion, he sat next to her on a flight and made her watch a video she thought she had deleted, reinforcing her inability to escape and the immense power he held over her. See, how stupid is this? If you have $1 billion empire and you're engaging in this kind of behavior, what do I keep telling you about the human brain, human emotions, right? Money, time. These things, sex, they are not your mate. If you fly off the handle in how you interact with these things, you will self-destruct. Your ego, your pride, your expectations, right? Yeah, humans are very, we're very flaky, very, like. So I said, don't put yourself on that pedestal. You want to have a good experience? Leverage the powers that be in your favor. Don't try to swim against the trend with righteousness. It's a lie. It's a lie, okay? If you're going to be intentional, just make sure with respect to emotional intelligence. That's all I'm asking. I think being intentional is cool. I think you should do it with respect to emotional intelligence. Okay? If you're discounting emotional intelligence, you will fail. It just won't work because usually there's another human being involved. So even if you're that perfect, the other human being is not perfect. So even if you're really perfect like that, 94. Mr. Combs would pay the male sex workers a few $1,000s in cash for their services. 95. During some freak-offs, Mr. Combs would become extremely intoxicated and would hit Miss Ventura in front of the male sex workers. 96. Miss Ventura was repulsed. Should I stop or should I keep going? Should I stop or should I keep going? What y'all think? Now this story I no believe. The girl feet they do as Diddy, they always acknowledge him late wife. This kind almost just go with another person. Today she go claim saying that the man bring the guys. You participated. Oh, welcome to the real world. It's always the man's fault. Okay. She was the young one. She was 19, he was 40. How do you think that plays out in real life? If that was your daughter? No, I didn't think so. Sorry about the pigeon. YouTube, they reject some of my words. I hear you. Diddy was never married to Kim Porter. No, they were never married. No, they were married. He's never been married. Well, most of these are made up. Remember, a family has a family with the mother of the children. Cassie was like a babysitter. I'll tell you what. If 25% of what we see here is true, it's no wonder he's settled. Right? I think that's the lessons. The lessons are not if it's made up or not. You know, there are lawyers involved in this. They have to paint a certain picture so they have a chance to win. So she can finally get the justice she's looking for. Right? But if you break it down to the details, we're not going to pretend that superstars and rock stars from the 90s did not participate in these crazy behaviors. When you have a child involved in that, yes, a 22-year-old woman is a child. Listen to me carefully. Especially to a 40-year-old man. Omo, you deserve everything you collect 40 years later. I'm sorry. This could have been any one of us, right? We get too much access, too much power, we start acting mad, right? But you collect, and as part of game in life, you need to be okay with the repercussions of this behavior. Just like, it is what it is. I got away with it as long as I could, but hey, this is real life. Some people call it karma, some people, whatever you want to call it, right? But right here, I'm a 22-year-old child, a 40-year-old man, too much power, too much access, guns, right? Sex workers. That doesn't sound too far-fetched. It's allegedly, but it doesn't sound too far-fetched. Now, in painting how it played out, that she was just innocent, you can speak to that, I guess. But if they go to court, Baba, the judge go believe how. That's why it's Yara and Brain who settle. Just so we know. I focus on reality here. Not what it's supposed to be, not what right and wrong is. This is a real world. There are 8 billion people here. So, our brain, when we're moving mad, any type of arrogance, pride, expectations, all of that needs to be managed at the same time. I should go ahead. I want the full gist. Okay, all right, I'll continue. I'll continue. I think we're on 96. Yes, 96. Miss Ventura was repulsed by Mr. Combs' demands, but between the physical beating and recognizing his incredible power and incredible temper, Miss Ventura became petrified of her partner and boss and felt that she could not say no. 97. He even would present her with lavish gifts prior to or in the middle of the freak-offs, seemingly acknowledging the ways in which these forced sexual encounters constituted work for Miss Ventura and that he needed to compensate her for this work. At one point, he had given her so many designer bracelets for freak-offs and immediately following his brutal beatings that she felt that she was shackled by his presence. Yeah, there's no doubt that she was lost in the middle of all of this. Remember, drugs were involved? There's no doubt, right? So some might interpret that, but she participated. Me, I interpret that she was a child. Okay? I interpret it like that could be my daughter. Like, no, like my... Okay? That's how I interpret it. Emotions, you're right. My emotions are involved. every single neuron of my brain are involved.
You're right.
Yep. I just can't imagine. Okay. Frequently, her anxiety before a freak-off would become so great that she would become physically ill, and sometimes to the point of vomiting. While kneeling over the toilet, Mr. Combs would shame her into performing for him, eventually forcing her to get up and proceed with the encounter. 99, she knew firsthand that telling Mr. Combs that she did not want to engage in freak-offs was met with anger and violence. Before I read 100, people that say, just get money. If you just get money, you will suddenly have game. It's a lie. It's a lie. Okay? The richest men in this world today are divorced. Okay? Because it's not about that. Okay? Just get money. You will suddenly have game. No, you will attract all kind of nonsense. You will attract this type of scenario. Right? You will attract a young girl. You thought she was making a decision of her own, but there's something else going on with her, right? She will give you a pass every now and then you're like, well, you start using tactics like shaming, manipulative, money, gifts, right? Because it was never authentic in the first place, right? No, money does not translate to game, okay? Money is a servant. You send it to do what it does, right? Depending on your skill set, your game as a human being. First of all, if you get bombarded with too much windfall too early in life, you tend to end up in situations like this. You either lose all of the money, or you become too arrogant, bigger than life itself, right? And the further you go into like that, the harder you're going to crash, right? But one day, every day for the thief, one day for the owner, right? All right, so I'm just saying, let's say, oh, that's cap. Some people get away with it. You're right. It might just not be you. It might just not be you, right? Is it worth it? Knock yourself out. But as for me and my other people, the Prestige family, my family, protect your children. Train them. Okay? So that they can discern. They know that money is not end all be all. Money is the servant. It's not the other way around. You don't become what's the other word that I should be using here? You don't become a slave to money is the word. Number 100. In addition, any suggestion that Ms. Ventura would refuse the freak-off or otherwise report Mr. Combs' abuse was met with ultimatums by Mr. Combs, who would say that Ms. Ventura could not go to the police because she had a lot to lose. Yeah. Let's keep going. 101. Around August 2015, for example, in the middle of surprise birthday dinner for Ms. Ventura's 29th birthday, Mr. Combs insisted that Ms. Ventura leave the party and go to a hotel for a freak-off. When she expressed that she did not want to go, Mr. Combs had Ms. Ventura cornered by his security staff in order to force her to leave with him. 102. After this freak-off, Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura went back to the hotel room that Ms. Ventura was staying in, where some of Ms. Ventura's friends were already hanging out. Mr. Combs was severely intoxicated and at one point during the night picked up one of Ms. Ventura's friends like a child and dangled the friend over the balcony of the 17th floor hotel suite. Jesus Christ. Ms. Ventura and her friends were scared by Mr. Combs' erratic behavior, but Ms. Ventura was heavily sedated because of the drugs she took to participate in the freak-off, and therefore was unable to respond to Mr. Combs' terrifying behavior. 103. The freak-offs became work for Ms. Ventura, and despite her protestations, she has not had hits for years, right? Like, how many hits does this girl have, right? I'm interested. Let me see. Does she have any song outside of the first hit song that she had? I mean, she's just known as Diddy's girl, basically. 37 years old now. Okay, she had a song called Cassie in 2006. I guess the album And then she's shown in films. I think it's just that one album, basically. Yeah, she's just known as Diddy's girl, basically. Anyway, the freakouts became work for her, so Mr. Combs insisted on this intricately staged and forced sexual encounters between Miss Ventura and various male sex workers. Miss Ventura tries to escape Mr. Combs' abuse. 104. Anytime she tried to create distance between her and Mr. Combs, he used his networks to find her and convince her to return to his abuse. 105. On multiple occasions, Mr. Combs sent his employees to lure Miss Ventura back. 106. In 2011, during a rough patch in Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura's relationship, Miss Ventura had a brief relationship with musician Kid Cudi. When Mr. Combs returned from a trip, he demanded another freak-off of Miss Ventura. She acquiesced. 108. During this freak-off, Mr. Combs found Miss Ventura's phone and found emails between her and Kid Cudi. Mr. Combs became enraged and proceeded to place a manual corkscrew between his fingers and lunged at Miss Ventura. 109. Miss Ventura ran away to stay at Kid Cudi's home to escape Mr. Combs' wrath. Soon thereafter, one of Mr. Combs' staff members told Miss Ventura that he needed to just talk to Mr. Combs, even though Mr. Combs was enraged. 110. Feeling like she could not escape Mr. Combs and his network of enforcers, Miss Ventura returned to Mr. Combs. He hit her several times and then kicked her in the back as she tried to run out the door. Trigger alerts. If this is too much for you, you can leave quietly, I beg. Okay. 111. She went to her parents' home in Connecticut where her mother took pictures of the bruises Mr. Combs had left on Miss Ventura's body. 112. In February 2000, like that, when they put that line in here, this was 112th line right now. That means those pictures actually exist. If they need to pull those pictures in court, they will. That's what that means. And like I said, if only 25% of this is true, that's it. That warrants $100 million in settlement. Okay? 112. Because it's a civil case. Don't take the money thing personally. It's legal. Okay? It's a civil case. Okay? All right. Because I think it's already gone past statute of limitation when it comes to the state being able to charge. All right? Why is it that they don't come out earlier to say, yeah, why? Let's talk about it. Why is it that people don't come out early? Don't just ask and keep moving and concluding that you know the answer. When you ask that why, you have to be patient for the discussion on the answers. Why is it that a woman who had been abused or a man who had been endured, because men do endure abuse too, right? Why is it that they don't speak up when it happens? Why is it that after I say if somebody use their hands, call the police regardless of who they are, so they can sleep in jail at least for one night, right? Why is it that people still don't listen to that? Why? You tell me why, right? Are you patient for the why? Maybe you just want to say it and then move on ahead to go and conclude that it's just all a lie. Yeah. Well, as we move on more into the future, people are not going to be able to get away with this behavior, no matter how long it's been. Okay? Okay? The only difference is that state versus you, or that person's versus you, civil case. That's the only difference. Okay? Either way, if you have a significant empire, it will be tampered with. It can get destroyed overnight, one day. Eventually, people will not want to. All those people that spit out whatever money they use to settle this will eventually say, you're bad for business. It just get too bad, right? You want to people will disassociate themselves from you because you're dangerous for business. You're dangerous for them, right? For their reputation, and it makes sense. Okay. 112. In February 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Mr. Combs told Ms. Ventura that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car and that he wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friends when it happened. Around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. 113. Ms. Ventura was terrified as she began to fully comprehend that Mr. Combs was both willing and able to do those he believed he was able to do to those he believed had slighted him. 114. In 2015, Ms. Ventura spoke to a popular music manager at an after party in a hotel suite in Las Vegas. Mr. Combs saw her speaking to this manager and sternly told her to step into the bedroom adjoining the suite. In the bedroom, Mr. Combs beat Ms. Ventura severely. She ran from corner to corner of the room, trying to avoid Mr. Combs beating and kicking. When she tried to lock herself in the bathroom, he pushed through and punched and kicked her while she curled up under the toilet. Her screams were drowned out by the loud music playing in the outside area of the hotel suite. 1:15. When Mr. Combs' head of security and assistants saw Ms. Ventura after the assault, they began to cry. Ms. Ventura had 2 black eyes, a bruised lip, and a huge welt on her forehead. 1:16. Upon seeing the result of his vicious attack, Mr. Combs immediately took steps to conceal his wrongdoing. 1:17. He forced Ms. Ventura to stay at his home in Holmby Hills along with one of his sons. Listen, I'm tired. Free cuffs, beating, I guess we get the gist. We get the gist. It's probably some. Let me see this longer one here. 1:28. Mr. Combs' tight hold over her life had irreparably damaged her friendships. Around 2018, when Ms. Ventura was with her friend Kerry Morgan in her house, Mr. Combs used to ski to Ms. Ventura's house and came in unannounced. He and Ms. Morgan had an altercation, during which Mr. Combs threw a hanger at Ms. Morgan. Upon information and belief, the incident resulted in a settlement between Mr. Combs and Ms. Morgan, and Ms. Ventura ended up paying Mr. Morgan additional funds in an attempt to resolve the disputes between her close friend and her abusive and controlling boyfriend. Wait, so she was found guilty or something? In a settlement she had to pay? Relationship between Ms. Ventura and Ms. Morgan has been strained since this time, of course. Seeing the extreme measures Mr. Combs took keep a tight hold on Ms. Ventura and isolate her from our support network, and having experienced the repercussions of rejecting his demand, Ms. Ventura felt that saying no to Mr. Combs could cost her something: her family, her friends, her career. Alright, this is another Grape situation. By 2017 and 2018, Ms. Ventura became desperate to leave Mr. Combs and his abuse of her. She recognized that if she stayed with him, she would never be able to have a successful career or ever. She was already 29. Ever by physically and mentally safe. She therefore became determined to completely break away from Mr. Combs and his cycle of abuse and made concerted efforts to avoid him. In September 2018, she joined Mr. Combs for a dinner at an Italian restaurant in Malibu, California, for what she believed would be a discussion about concluding their relationship for good. Okay, that would be a reason why, because they have business relationship too, right? That would be a reason why she probably went to a dinner. After dinner, Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura returned to Ms. Ventura's home. Why to the home though? Which was paid for by Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs forced himself into her apartment and tried to kiss Ms. Ventura. She told him to stop and attempted to push him away. Mr. Combs then forcibly pulled off Ms. Ventura's clothing and unbuckled his belt. He proceeded to grape Ms. Ventura while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Soon thereafter, Ms. Ventura took steps to completely separate herself from the long-term abuser, including by leaving the home that he paid for and returning the car he purchased for her. Despite moving away, Ms. Ventura's address was posted online in early 2019, leading to fears of her safety. Ms. Ventura, who was under immense duress during the months after Mr. Combs graped her, took all steps forcibly to entirely remove herself from her. Like, why would you want to be in a relationship with a girl that's afraid for her life like this? I don't understand. All right, so that she's filed a lawsuit because of this Survival Act in New York City, which was about to be due. She says, thanks to the passage of New York's Adult Survival Act and California Sexual Abuse Accountability and Cover-Up Act, she's now ready and able to also confront her abuser and to hold him, and those who, yeah. Listen, only one question I have for you is this, okay? I'm just gonna leave this alone. This is too long. I can't. Let's call it a day. Let's call it around. Let's round it up right here. Right here. Let's see. She was there with the children at the same time with Kim. Yeah, but this girl was not a. Yeah, I don't think babysitter is about. No, she was signed as an artist. She was a girlfriend. That's like whatever else she was. Who cares, right? She babysat or anything like that. Kim was aware of his other lovers and girlfriend, and it's known that Kim and Carissa were on good terms. Who's Carissa? I don't know who that is. They both were trapped in the situation. Or did you mean Cassie? Okay, you're talking about Cassie. Was Kim trapped in that situation too? Kim Porter? Is that what happened? She said both, shout out to you, Coco. Said both wanted to leave and couldn't. Allegedly. They're believable, okay? One thing I know is that, again, I'm going to round it off like this. Let me round up like this. Pride. Okay? There's always two ends of this that you need to manage. Okay? There's two ends of this. And it shows up in any area of life. It can show up in any area of life, right? So you have to be very, very careful, right? And distraction is enticing, right? I'm sure there will be people actively looking for ways to to say this girl was a willing participant, right? To me, the way I see that, and not to bring this extreme traumatic experience down to this level, by the way, but I'm trying to make a point. The way I see that is that distractions are enticing. I'm supposed to be focused on one thing, and I get distraction. The distraction are enticing. So I might be lured into a situation because they're enticing. Nonetheless, it's a distraction, right? The point I'm making there is that these things are never black and white, right? They're never black and white. It's the same exact reason why you need to be watchful, why you need to watch yourself, why you need to make sure that you surround yourself with accountability systems, because there's some things that are in the blind spot and you can end up in jail for the rest of your life, even quote unquote you believe you are innocent. Okay, we all need to be careful when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's just blind spots in life. There's some things you can't see. This would be the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that Diddy was just being a rock star. There were people, I thought she was happy. I didn't know she was angry. That would be the best case scenario. Either way, you deserve to collect. Because again, when you have all that kind of energy, people that are on drugs, people that are taking pills and all that kind of activity going on, it's dangerous. It's just dangerous, right? We already live a very dangerous life. Just the fact that you get out in your car and you're about to drive to work, 20 minutes away, ordinary 20 minutes away, it can be the end of it all. Everything can end right there. Right? How much more you deliberately put yourself in harm's way. How much more you put other people's children in harm's way. Right? Either you meant to do it or not do it. I'm telling you right now, so you can't claim that you don't know. Right? Sex, money, power. Had drugs onto that. Had pride onto that. Right? If you don't learn how to manage these things, they can destroy you. They can destroy you. Right? They'll come back and haunt you. So, and I'm already sounding like I'm toning this behavior down. Well, that's because it's allegedly, I don't know, right? But it's believable. It's believable. And to whom much is given, much is required. If you're a powerful person, you can't say, I'm not responsible for that. No, you're responsible, right? You're responsible for everything that goes right and everything that goes wrong. To whom much is given. You want to be a husband, you want to be a leader, you want to be end all be all of a family. That means responsibility. That is not some pass. That's not a pass to just move mad through life. No, that means responsibility. Ladies, that means responsibility. You want to be a leader of a family, right? Equality, feministic. That means responsibility. That's not a pass, right? That means responsibility. You have to be responsible for other people. You have to be willing, literally, to die for them. That's what it means, right? It's not just a mouth, right? So if you're a puff daddy, you have responsibility, you have a business, right? Somebody can fall in front of your business and they sue you. You have to be prepared for that. It doesn't mean you're guilty. You have to be, you're responsible until they leave you and say, no, it wasn't your fault. But until further notice, you need to answer to that. That's how life works, right? So it's nothing to get emotional about. PDD has obviously lived a certain type of lifestyle. He probably thought he could get away with a lot, but now he's had to dish out serious money. All that money that's been dished out, even if they paid it for him now, even if the powers that be, all the people he reports to, even if they dished out just give her $15 million to go somewhere, right? Even if they pay, even if they did that, now he holds those people. Now those people have some leverage over him. Keep in mind to what I'm saying. Nobody gets away with anything. Now this is power. Now those people have leverage over him, right? Why would you want to put yourself in? God is uplifting you and he's lifting you. Why won't you want to protect that, right? Just take it easy, okay? That's why some of these people go and be looking for ayahuasca, all this kind of crazy drug thing, because they too much money, too much access. It's not, lonely at the top. It's not always. It's not a bed of roses. Okay, it means there's more responsibility. It means you have to manage your surrounding, your energy. It means you have to be careful because there will be enablers around you. How do they enable you? They say Ogasa, chairman. Those are all. That's what enablers look like. Because those people get paid off of your, and they don't mind kissing up to you. Until one day, that same person will come and try to destroy you. Just look at this Will Smith assistant right now, actively trying to destroy him right now. Let's just take it easy. Let's be careful, okay? Tila say, sir, please drink water. After, thank you so much for breaking it down. I didn't plan that, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate you for that. Some people are hedonistic.
Not be juju be that.
What is hedonistic, Marriott? What does that mean? What do you mean by hedonistic? I am not about to be Googling that. What does that mean?
Everything I do, I will.
Anyway, I'm curious. Let me see. What's hedonistic? Is that actual word? I be you're just joking around. Hedonistic, engaged in the pursuit of pleasure, sensually self-indulgence. Oh, yeah. If you're like that and you now have access, imagine what happens. You go mad. You just go crazy. Anyway, I appreciate you. Yeah, we had a good time today. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, I'll be dropping some videos throughout the course of the day tomorrow. Engage as much of them and share. Do me a favor, as you're on your way out, hit that like button, share and subscribe. Okay, hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Beautiful girl, sparkling night, killing thing. I find a beautiful girl.
It's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.